All right, boys. Well, we had a big milestone over the past weekend. We hit 5,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Freaking hell, bro. That's insane, insane work. Can't thank you all enough.
Yeah, I feel like our numbers with our podcast episodes are kind of in sync because we did episode 50 and we hit 5K.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were at episode 40 was probably under 4K.
Yeah, because
the numbers are in sync.
Every 3 to 4 months, we hit another 1,000.
Yeah.
So
The numbers are in sync, but 5K is more than what we thought we'd be at right now.
yeah.
A year from now.
So we can't thank you all enough for the love and support. Discord coming soon, probably by the launch of next week's episode. It'll be out and all the descriptions and everything like that. You all can go check it out. But
You can talk to Geo DM. DM version. And all of us.
with all of us.
Just
So,
don't blow up our phones, please.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't want that.
But we have some cool stuff planned for the Discord server. Obviously, there'll be notification sections, so you guys will know when we go, when we upload a video or a short or a TikTok or anything like that. We have a whole bunch of ideas planned for it. So stay tuned for the Discord. Hopefully next week we'll be able to get it out. Obviously, as for today's episode, it's episode 51. We're going to be doing some more playoff stuff. So we're going to go through every playoff team, so basically just the top 18 teams in the NBA at this current moment in time, and we're going to expose their biggest weakness heading into this postseason. Basically these are the reasons why they'll be eliminated and sent to La Cancunville at whatever point this season. But before we get into that, guys, how we doing?
Chilling, man.
We're doing well. You can't complain. It's gonna get warmer soon. A week from today, since the recording is my 26th birthday, we'll probably be recording shorts that day here, so you won't see podcast. But
Yeah, it'll come out the day after, though.
the day after, exactly. But no, nothing. Spring, it's getting warmer. It's already April. We're halfway through the year almost. June is around the corner.
Crazy.
Yeah. We hope you guys do enjoy our April Fool's draft.
Oh, yes.
So I had a lot of fun editing it.
There were
it
some
was,
comments.
It was great.
Yeah.
That was funny.
So hopefully y'all understood the assignment. Y'all get it.
Yes.
But yeah, we like keeping it with the holidays, keep things themed,
Yeah.
right? We did our Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. But if you guys do enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Now we're on the road to 6K. I feel like I've been saying get us to 5K for so long now. And now we're on to the next K. So get us to 6. If you're on Spotify audio platforms, give us 5 stars. Y'all have been killing it, by the way, on our Spotify episodes. Numbers have been increasing by a lot.
Nice.
So we'll keep doing a big push on there. You can obviously watch the videos on Spotify now.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes, follow our socials in the description. Get Gio to 1 million Instagram followers. And yeah, we have obviously other news stories that we're going to get into for the first 45 minutes to the first hour of the episode. So guys, do we have anything else to say before we dive into the first segment?
Let's roll.
Into the first segment we go, and it's more unexpected news, something we really didn't, see happening now. It was just a random weekday. I think it was on Friday.
I think so.
It was just another random Friday in the world, and I was at work, and just out of the blue, I saw Antoine put in the chat a tweet from someone. I forgot who it was. We'll put it on
Chris
the screen.
Haynes.
From Chris Haynes. We'll put it on the screen right now. That the Memphis Grizzlies have parted ways with Coach Taylor Jenkins with only 10 games left until the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild work.
That's insane.
So, obviously it's, Memphis has been very steady since, the Ja Morant, Taylor Jenkins era. They've obviously crashed out in the playoffs to experienced teams, both times they were in it. So not really, the greatest display in the postseason, but it's clear in the regular season he was able to get the job done.
Yeah.
But this would have made so much more sense doing it at the end of the season in the summer.
Yeah.
But obviously, Antoine, I know you are very high on Memphis, as you always are. Give us your thoughts on this whole thing.
Yeah, so this is something I think a lot of us were expecting. Of course, us three, if the Memphis Grizzlies were not really good in the playoffs, that they would have moved on from Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
Right in the playoff hunt is really crazy. Clearly, Zach Kleiman had something going on, and I'll talk about it. But just something about Taylor Jenkins. He is the longest tenured coach behind Pop, Spoelstra, Kerr, and Malone.
Wow.
And they all won titles. He's the lone one that does not won a title.
How many years has he been coaching? Do you know?
He's been with Memphis for 6 years, 6 seasons. So yeah, pretty long. He's also the franchise leader in wins for the Grizzlies. He passed Lionel Hollins earlier this year.
Wow.
coached the most games for Memphis. Of course, he had 3 playoff appearances, 1 second-round appearance. That was it. We didn't mention the interim coach, but I think it's pronounced Tuomas Lisalo. I think that's his name.
Yeah, he's going to wind up getting the main coaching job at the end of the season.
He was the interim head coach he's named interim head coach for the remainder of the season. He's the first Finnish-born coach in the NBA, which is from Finland. And also, pretty interesting, he joined Jenkins' staff only this season as a lead assistant before now being interim.
Huh.
Seems strategic to me.
Okay.
But very much so. A little backstory. So Zach Kleiman had Taylor Jenkins completely fire his assistant staff from last year and bring in a whole new staff.
Yeah.
And Lisalo was a part of the staff. So maybe something from Kleiman to just help him out. And I guess this was probably the guy from the beginning, but I digress.
Oh, wait. Pause. Who hired the Finnish coach?
Jenkins.
Jenkins hired him, or the other guy?
No, Jenkins brings in his staff.
Interesting.
Well, obviously the owner and the GM make the hirings, but Taylor Jenkins, when you're the head coach, you get to call the shots. You pick your own staff because you're running the show. You need to pick people by your side to help you make your life easier, and in turn make your players' lives easier. And
Now, how would you feel if you hired, for an example, right?
right,
Let's say you hired one of your best friends to help you coach a team. Now your boss fires you to have this other guy be the head coach of the team.
Who's not even been there for a year.
Right. What
I
do you
mean,
think about that?
look, at the end of the day,
It
Taylor
feels bad, man.
But I mean, it does. But at the end of the day, now Taylor Jenkins is going to make a bag without having
will.
to do anything.
Yeah, he will.
So
And he'll have another job
and
elsewhere.
He will.
Exactly.
I could see probably the Suns if Bud goes.
I don't know if he'll take that job. I
That's
think
also-
he wants a job that has security. He wants years. He wants to be able to feel safe in his position. And look, I don't know how many, I've already talked about this with Mike Brown, but Taylor Jenkins is available. If the Knicks don't go out and get him, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Because I mean, there's clear good coaches out there. I'm not saying Jenkins easily makes the Knicks a title contender, but better than playing your starters 45 minutes a night.
100%.
Yeah,
So-
listen.
Yeah.
But going back, so Tyler mentioned John Morant, and from what all the media people are saying, that is the sole reason why Jenkins was fired.
Wow.
Zach Kleiman brought in Taylor Jenkins that Friday, as Tyler said, and they fired him on the spot. Happened on that Friday. They called him in, he was gone. So it wasn't like behind the scenes. It was that Friday, he was gone. So Tim McMahon on ESPN said on the Hoop Collective podcast that the decision to fire Jenkins was about optimizing John Morant. The Athletic then followed up this by saying that the reason why also this occurs is that Memphis leaned much less on the pick and roll, which was a point of contention as the season progressed. The team's floor general, which is John Morant, of course, was among those who were unhappy with this change. They added, when Morant was on the court, he complained about this new scheme, which takes the ball out of his hands and removes the screens he likes to use as a ball handler to make plays. And another source added that Morant's body language seemed to be up and down on a given night, in part because he hates the offense.
Yeah, because there was no bad blood between him and Taylor Jenkins. He loves Taylor Jenkins, and he's sad that he's gone. It's just I don't know why you decide to move on from the coach. Like there should have been heart-to-heart conversations about the system. And, with all these trade rumors swirling around, like you really need to, make these choices with a lot of thought, a lot of opinions. Because, I just, why are you doing this now? Do this a month ago. Don't do this right before the playoffs, especially when you legitimately have a shot. Like if OKC somehow gets knocked out, Memphis could easily go to the finals. And now that Taylor Jenkins is out the door, I just can't see this happening. And the other problem, too, is that maybe, you shied away from the pick and roll because you don't have anyone that knows how to set a proper screen.
Exactly.
You had probably one of the greatest screen setters of all time on your team in Steven Adams, and then you traded him. That's your own fault. Jaren Jackson sets illegal screens like they're going out of style. Zach Edey's no better. So it's just like, what do you want them to do realistically?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. I mean, what this is telling me is that they have a lot of faith in this interim head coach guy, right? Because you're not going to fire Taylor Jenkins, who's a proven coach that could win in the regular season, but maybe not in the playoffs, but he can win you games, right?
yeah, he can.
He's a proven coach, but you're going to fire him more than halfway through the season, that tells me that they have a lot of faith and belief in this interim head coach. So I don't know. We might have the next Greg Popovich over here. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Zach Kleiman read too much into the John Morant trade rumors and thought Taylor Jenkins was the culprit of this. And that's why maybe he heard something through the grapevine from maybe a leak source or someone else. But you can verify the validity of that. Even though it's a source, Josh has to tell you himself, I want out. And if Johnson said that, what gives you the means to think that he does? It's all hearsay until he does come to you. Maybe they want to see how Ja does in the postseason with this coach, and if he rises or falls.
Yeah.
So I guess that would fuel the trade rumors even more in the offseason if he does fail with Uafalo, I think, Lisalo. Then I guess, he's not the way, or I guess Ja does request out, or they gouge whatever they can get and move on. But
look, I am a fan. I'm a fan of this. This might be kind of crazy, but sometimes you need to take risks in order to be successful. And I think Taylor Jenkins, I don't know if he was that guy for this team.
That's fair.
He reminds me a lot of another guy, JB Bickerstaff, who is, to me, very, very. Look, this is my opinion. You don't have to take it as fact.
Yeah.
But to me, JB Bickerstaff and Taylor Jenkins fit that high mediocre coach. So they'll win you games in the playoffs. They'll do great not in the playoffs, the regular season. So they'll win you games in the regular season. They'll do good in the regular season. But when it comes time to winning games in the playoffs, they go to sleep.
Look, I think at this moment in time, we can safely say that JB Bickerstaff has graduated from mediocre.
You know what? He's almost there. And if he does something with these Pistons in the playoffs, like let's say they win a round, even that alone, that will convince me otherwise
Taylor
about
Jenkins
JB.
has won a round with the Grizzlies.
No, but it's different. It's different.
It's the first round.
It's different.
But JB Bickerstaff, the Pistons are the first team ever to triple their win total from last year.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's about to graduate. We'll see what he does in the playoffs.
Yeah. And if I'm Taylor Jenkins and if I want to follow that Bickerstaff, I guess, model, if you want to have years of probably long-term control, you want to go to a team that's rebuilding, like Washington or New Orleans. If you're going to Sacramento, that's kind of a
It really just depends on
messy
what's
spot.
open. It really depends on what's open. I don't really know what's going to be open, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be anywhere.
It's interesting. Oh, Chicago?
Nah.
I think Billy Donovan would go.
Chicago's playing really, really well lately.
They are.
Giddy's playing outstanding.
I still
Did you
don't.
see that crazy buzzer beater?
It was insane.
Oh,
It was going berserk,
it was ridiculous.
I still think Billy
shot.
Donovan should get fired. That was my guy in the beginning of the season to go
I
out with
disagree.
Billy
I think
Donovan.
he earned his job back.
Yeah.
He's safe.
Yeah, I like Billy.
Like I think the best case scenario would be if the Bucks fire Doc Rivers and Giannis stays. We'll talk about Giannis later on.
Yeah.
But I think Taylor Jenkins would probably be the best replacement for,
Milwaukee.
Well, I mean, yeah, because obviously Adrian Griffin and Doc were not really great replacements for Bud. Right. I think Taylor Jenkins would be one of those guys.
I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Good take.
I have no issues with that. I think he overstayed his time in Memphis a little bit, maybe like 1 or 2 seasons. I think that's kind of my view on it.
To be fair, he did get dealt a pretty bad hand as far as the rosters, because last year was totally out of his control. There's nothing he could do.
Yeah, the injuries.
Ja gets hurt. He was playing really well in that first game against the Lakers. And then, the Warriors, it was just a 2-3 series. They were just really close in 2022. And, the Warriors' experience got through because that was the farthest they had gone. So I don't really think. I mean, Taylor Jenkins, 4 or 6 winning seasons with Memphis is really good. 4 playoff appearances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't stand by this at this current moment in time.
Yeah, the man's a good coach.
Yeah.
So yeah, do we have any sort of final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns before we move in to the next topic? All right, so let's transition over to something a little bit more unserious but kind of hilarious. So obviously we've been keeping tabs on the intense, 1v1 battle between LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. So basically an old man versus an old man. So Antoine's got the full details on this whole situation. Antoine, just give us a bit of a rundown from last week.
Do you want me to start? I guess I will start with the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, whatever happened first.
So LeBron goes on to Pat McAfee show. Love Pat McAfee as a football fan as well. His show is tremendous for what he does. LeBron goes on his show, of course, an ESPN show now as well, we have to mention.
Yeah.
ESPN approves of this. Pat McAfee, of course, approved of this. LeBron goes on there for like an hour and a half. It was pre-recorded, actually. They recorded it the day before and aired it on the Friday or Thursday show. And they go he goes into Stephen A. He goes into Wendy. Apparently, Wendy's not his best friend anymore. But Stephen A. specifically, he goes in on him about everything. Stephen A. has to respond to that on Twitter. And I'm trying to regroup now. Stephen A. responds to it on Twitter, just about a whole interview. And the next day talks about like how he loves Pat McAfee, his show and everything. And is also verifying that he is telling the truth and not LeBron James. That he has to do, as a journalist himself, he has to do his due diligence to report the truth to the audience, especially working for ESPN, because he's also working for Disney and other various companies and himself, that he will not lie on TV, that as a journalist, he will stay with the ethics and always report the truth. So he's saying that whatever he says is the truth, and LeBron is the one spitting all the lies. He spoke about it for like 10 minutes on First Take, and they actually got into the show and talked about sports. Shocker, for once.
And by sports, we mean just the Lakers.
Right.
I think someone's been keeping track of it. They've talked about the Lakers like every day for the past like 4.5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, look, Shannon's on the show, so.
Yeah, Lakers in 5.
I will also say, I think the same night the Pat McAfee show happened, LeBron hit the game winner against the Pacers.
Oh, dirty work.
Was it that layup, like
It
little
was.
floater?
Little tip in.
So then they were saying Stephen A. is having an awful night. He got roasted on his own channel.
Someone posted on Twitter the rant he had with the Knicks. He's like, I am having a very bad day.
Yeah. No,
Today
I love
is a
that.
very bad day.
Yes.
Right.
So,
That's hilarious.
and then LeBron also did put on Instagram about, I think, a story about Stephen A. about the game winner and everything else. I think we're waiting for LeBron's response from Stephen A. I think since that show, where he just talked about everything, and he still talks about it every day, like about how he's not the liar.
Who?
Stephen
Bron?
A.
Oh, Stephen
not
A.
the liar.
He's calling LeBron the liar.
LeBron is
in
the
essence.
What is he saying Bron is lying about?
Everything.
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 That he's saying, because LeBron is saying how he came for his family, and Stephen A. is saying that he is coming for LeBron the player, not the family, and Bronny the player. But I guess LeBron is taking his family, and that's kind of what is starting.
What do you?
this
I want to
whole
get
thing.
you guys' opinions. What do you think? Do you think Stephen A. is coming and intentionally coming at the family of the Jameses, or is he coming at just the player, Bronny and LeBron?
I think he's just going at LeBron.
I think he's going
personally.
at LeBron the parent as well
Yeah.
for letting Bronny.
He's literally called him out as a father.
Yeah.
Like,
And Stephen A. is one of the biggest LeBron fans in the world, but clearly not anymore.
Not anymore.
They both hate each other right now, and
Yeah, they
and LeBron, Stephen A. wants LeBron on First Take face to face to talk about this.
Yeah.
But the thoughts of that happening, I don't think would ever happen. Because I think it would end in a fist fight and someone
think
gets
so?
punched in the face.
Who's winning that? I got my money on Stephen A. Smith, baby. Let's
I
go.
don't know, but
yeah, I mean, what I didn't like about this whole situation is the fact that Stephen A. tried to combat this with more lies, and by more lies, he lied by crossing the line. Like, he brought up Kobe Bryant's memorial
yes,
and claimed that LeBron was not there.
He was.
LeBron was there, and in a very rare LeBron moment, was not front and center of it because this wasn't about him. You know, Stephen A. goes to places thinking like, yeah, he's hot shit. Like, you know, we'll see the meme of him walking courtside, just, you know, kind of strutting, acting like, yeah.
got aura. He got
yeah.
aura.
There's another meme going around about Stephen A. shooting hoops on the court and missing everything. They're saying this is the man that's making fun of LeBron, and he's missing airballing
It's great.
everything.
Yeah.
On
Boxing video.
on the-
boxing.
Yeah. Or like when he wipes out on the court.
LeBron tweeted womp 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 to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great little back and forth. LeBron
Yeah.
said he's going on like a Taylor Swift tour.
Oh yes, he did say that. It's his
Yeah.
Taylor Swift tour.
Because bro,
know what
he's going on
Yes.
so many different networks trying to talk shit about LeBron. Like, give it a damn rest.
He
like,
was on,
this is someone that claims he doesn't care. Yet you care a lot. Like,
So
I mean, he's a professional yapper. Like, he has to talk about things.
Also-
And especially this is trending, so he's going to talk about it. He's
Stephen A.'s main
going to milk it, you know?
main idea for LeBron's, I guess, envy of Stephen A. is Stephen A. does not call LeBron the greatest of all time.
Right. That's why I think LeBron doesn't like Stephen A.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
LeBron has what's the word? He has a pedestal where he holds himself to.
Yeah.
and he knows he's the greatest, but Stephen A says MJ is the greatest, and he is not the greatest. So I think that he does hold Stephen A because he wants to be the greatest.
Yeah.
And also, Stephen A did mention on the show that whenever he signed the 5-year extension, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So that was the same day that LeBron approached him on the court, was the announcement of his 5-year contract. So Stephen A did mention that he did this because he knows that I'm here for a lot longer than he will be here for, which is 5 years. LeBron's going to retire probably in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So Stephen A was saying that he'll still be here even past LeBron's retirement and so on and so on. So LeBron, he's saying that LeBron knows that he can't get rid of him. That's why he did this.
Right. But what I don't seem to understand is that, like, well, I'm trying to figure out the best way to kind of put this into words. Stephen A he's like, in the past, he's talked so much shit, and he's like, come find me. I'm here, I'm ready to hash this out man to man, face to face. And then, LeBron approached him, did exactly what Stephen A's been talking about. Stephen A was spooked. He was scared. He was completely mute. And then afterwards is when he started talking more shit, trying to act like a tough guy. Like, I would have swung on him if he slapped me and stuff like that. And I'm like,
well, it's also the way that LeBron approached him. It was during a game where you don't expect that to happen. That to me is kind of sorry. If you're gonna do it after the game where there's time for the other person to, retaliate, say something back. But if it's during a game, you're gonna say what you have to say, but then it's going back to the game. So you're not gonna get both sides.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying?
Even if it happened at the end of the
He
game,
also was cursing him out.
Yeah, even at the end of the game, I still think Stephen A would have been spooked.
Yeah, he would have been spooked. I mean, he's
So,
6'9", 250.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cursing him out, raising his voice. Anyone's gonna be spooked at that. But
But yeah, Stephen A's basically been acting like a fake tough guy over however many years. And, it's just, I'm over this. It's just so stupid. It's just another excuse for him to talk about the Lakers and everything of that nature, like they always do. Because without the Lakers, ESPN would be bored.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah. I always say, listen, I mean, I have ESPN on when SportsCenter's on. That's pretty much it because they show, I guess, or try to show the replays of everything without having an analyst analyze everything. I just want highlights. Give me the highlights. What happened? Let's move on to the next game, so on and so forth. But now, it's not like that anymore with NBA Today. The jump. When
they just focus on one team. Right?
Everyone's debating. Everyone wants to debate. Get their debate in there, yada, yada. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I just I want the news and I want the scores and the stats.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But let me tell you this though. Going back to the LeBron James, Stephen A. I think LeBron, he's showing a side of himself that I don't think many people were ready up for.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that loved LeBron, either it's two things. They either love him more after this, or they dislike him after this. So there's like a big shift now in the LeBron fan kingdom, right? So a lot of people that's why you're seeing on Instagram the LeBron James songs that are trending like crazy. I'm not going to sing because I can't, but there's a whole lot of songs that are going out there. And there's a lot of people that don't like LeBron when they used to like him. Right. You know what I mean? So there's a big split right now.
Here's the problem, right? Yeah. LeBron's close to retiring. We all know this.
Yeah.
LeBron can sense the NBA is desperate. Because once LeBron retires, once Steph retires, once KD retires, they're worried. The NBA's worried they're going to completely fall to pieces. And Stephen A. and ESPN are a huge reason why the NBA is in the state that it's in. Because all they want to talk about is the same two teams and the same three players. If they knew how to market like these other leagues, then the NBA would be fine. But because Stephen A. keeps trashing the product and because he keeps blaming LeBron for all of this, LeBron's frustrated by all of this. And it's probably pent up frustration for multiple years of all of this. And I think this was kind of the point where he's starting to kind of crash out. He's 40. He's too old for this shit.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm curious, when it gets time to the Hall of Fame for LeBron, what Stephen A. is going to say. The retirement, of course, when he does announce it. I think this is just the beginning, as we know it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I mean, obviously we know LeBron loves Pat McAfee. He looked very happy on his show, clearly because Pat McAfee says he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And getting on LeBron for any talk show deserves a clap. I don't think anybody can get LeBron on a
Oh no,
a
LeBron
talk show
loves
for
to
an
talk.
hour and a half.
He's been on shows. He's been on New Heights with the Kelsey brothers. He was on the show with Channing Frye and them.
Yeah,
I just haven't
JJ
seen
Redick, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
They actually just relaunched with Steve Nash.
Steve Nash
Oh, wow.
is the new host on the podcast.
Bro,
Oh, wow.
if they talk about the Brooklyn Big Three, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm so traumatized
You know they
by
will.
that
So
period of time.
LeBron may rejuvenate Steve Nash's coaching career.
He
Possibly.
may what?
Rejuvenate his coaching career.
I doubt it. That man can't coach to save his life.
We'll see. I don't know.
But
Let's see if he can talk on a podcast.
We'll
That's
see, yeah.
actually the only reason why he wanted the Pat McAfee show was to announce Steve Nash was
Basically,
But
yeah.
then it turned into everything.
shout out
else.
Pat McAfee. He handled that beautifully.
Yeah, he's good at what he
So
does.
he's great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's basically the whole LeBron, Stephen A. Smith debacle. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Comment down below whose side you're on.
Yeah.
Want to see what the fans
Comment
say.
who's winning in 7 rounds.
Oh, bro, you have a 6'9", 250
Right.
Or 5
demigod
rounds.
Yeah,
against how tall is Stephen A? Like
6'3".
he's like 6'3", bad hips, bad
210.
back. Yeah,
Bad
I mean,
shoulders.
he's not a weak guy. He's not a small guy,
he's just
but
out of shape.
he's not LeBron James.
No.
Yeah. So
LeBron would send that man to the infirmary very, very quickly.
And he knows that too.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, but look, it is what it is. We'll kind of see. Basically, if you have ever gotten into any drama with a friend or a friend group, this is basically what it is. So it's easily relatable from both sides. But do we have any final thoughts before we get into the next story?
no, let's roll.
Into the next segment, we have some, it's not really breaking news, more of a developing story that's kind of been going on for the past like 24 hours-ish regarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, we know his future in Milwaukee is, questionable to say the least. He could retire a buck. He could be gone in the offseason. We really don't know. So Antoine's got all the inside scoop on this. Antoine, take it away.
Oof. We don't really have a lot, but it's something. Better than nothing. I'll say that.
That is true.
Something is better than nothing. Okay, so Brian Lewis of the New York Post, our very own proud news sources around the New York Post, is very notable. I don't know about Brian Lewis, but I should know about him now. So, Antetokounmpo, in quotes, has been and remains Plan A for the Brooklyn Nets, depending on his availability this offseason.
he remains what now?
Plan A.
Plan A
Plan A.
is going to be going to the Brooklyn Nets.
That's the Nets' Plan A. Is Giannis.
Oh, okay. I thought you
The
said
Nets' Plan A is
Giannis was
No.
like, I'm going.
No,
to
no, no. The Nets,
okay.
the Nets' Plan A
Thank
is
you.
Giannis.
Thank you for that clarification.
Depending on availability. So Lewis also states that the Nets fail to land him this offseason. They likely will be looking at another rebuilding year. And that's kind of it. He goes on to talk about how if Giannis gets traded elsewhere besides the Nets, Sean Marks' path is simple, tanking for another year and building through the lottery.
Yeah.
It's kind of Giannis, put all the chips in, or rebuilding. That's kind of the synopsis of it all. So that leads us to the Nets fans' reaction of this.
Tyler, go for it.
Sean Marks. Fucking stop. Stop you. We have so many picks. We have a legitimate chance to get Cooper Flag. Stop thinking about star hunting. I don't understand. Like why is that the means of trying to win? Like when has that worked? Genuinely, someone tell me when has that worked? You know what? Why don't we take a trip down memory lane while we have the time? Why don't we, right?
You want to bring that up? Really?
Yeah, let's do it. 2024 Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, drafted. 2023, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, drafted. 2022, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, drafted. 2021, Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, Chris Middleton, drafted. 2020 is an outlier
Lakers,
because LeBron's an anomaly as far as all time goes.
Okay.
But they're the Lakers. Stars fall into their lap all the time.
2019.
2019, Kawhi was the best player, but you had drafted players around him.
Okay.
And, they got so far with DeMar DeRozan, they just missed out on a championship with him. He would have been drafted. 2018, 2017, 2015 Warriors were all drafted.
Except for KD.
Minus
Well, obviously,
KD.
yeah, but they were good enough without KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond, drafted. 2016, LeBron. I know he came back, but again, LeBron was drafted. Kyrie was drafted. Who won before that? The Spurs, right, in 2014.
Yep, same
Duncan,
thing.
they all were drafted. Heat, Dwayne Wade was drafted.
Same thing,
And again, you had the anomaly that is LeBron James, everything like that. 2011 Mavs, Dirk Nowitzki, drafted. So we're noticing a big pattern. What do? You build through the what?
The draft.
The draft. See, Sean Marks. Look, I understand, right? That Nets team in 2021 was stacked beyond belief. Could we have won 5 titles in a row? Absolutely. But you realize how rare of an occurrence that is to do that, especially with 2 players that have won before. Now you're looking at a situation where you have a guy in Giannis who's barely been healthy for playoffs since the decade turned. His 1 championship isn't even that valid, to be honest, because the path there was stupidly easy and they should have lost to us.
You could say that about anyone, though. Come on.
No,
give
but
him his flowers.
Here's
man.
I can't, though. If he doesn't injure Kyrie, they lose in 7 games.
Gosh.
They lost by 50 in game 2.
Yeah.
They looked done and done. They even interviewed. There were so many interviews. They interviewed Holiday. They interviewed Middleton, Jeff Teague. They had their bags packed when they came back to Milwaukee for game 3 and 4.
For real?
Yeah. They had no chance. And, game 3 was just a close one. And then game 4, Kyrie goes down and then it's a series. So that's kind of that. Mm-hmm. Whereas, now, we fucked up the Harden trade, right? We can all agree on that. We gave away our picks to Houston. Houston, bless them. We were lucky enough for them to give us our picks back. And now we're in a situation where we can tank. We have the Bucks pick in this year's draft. And right now it's sitting at the 17 spot.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a situation where we could have a pick inside the top 7, the 17th pick. The Knicks pick's at 24, 25 right now, and then another pick at 28, 29.
Yeah, they'll have 4 first-round picks, and that'll probably set them up for next year, but a good while. The draft this year is pretty deep.
And even if we trade guys for first-round picks, we can get more.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have this situation where we can get a Cooper Flag or a VJ Edgecombe or what's his name? Jeremiah Fears is another name floated around.
Fears
Derek Queen could be good.
Derek Queen, yeah.
So building through the draft right now is, I think, the best case scenario, and then develop these guys and trade your big salaries for ancillary pieces. Because let's say we win the lottery, we get Cooper Flag, right? You roll out a lineup whatever lineup you want to run out, you still can retain a Cam Thomas. You still can retain a Nick Claxton or a Cam Johnson. And you can move off of any of those guys to get Cooper Flag help as he develops further. Where, let's say we don't win the lottery, we get the 8th pick in the draft. We take whoever. I don't know who would fall to us at 8. But then you'd have to sacrifice Nick Claxton, Cam Johnson, and Cam Thomas, plus 3 of the 4 first-round picks we got back for Giannis, who's already I think he's over 30 already, and just is not the most durable player anymore.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, Sean Marks also can look at the Cavs of this year with Garland and Mobley, both drafted. Of course, Mitchell and Allen came over in trades.
Yep.
The West is more prominent because you have Memphis, Ja, Triple J, Edie, Bane, all drafted. Rockets, Amen, Jabari, Şengün, Green. VanVleet came over, not really a big deal.
Yeah.
Who else?
OKC outside of SGA, everyone else, or mostly everyone else was drafted. J-Dub was drafted.
Chet.
Dort was drafted. Chet was drafted.
Yeah.
OKC just got lucky that the Clippers were idiots, but
yeah,
that's kind of the situation. The draft is so important right now, and even just looking at some of the other good teams throughout the years, teams that got to the finals, that Suns team was built from the ground up through the draft,
right?
And Chris Paul brought them all together. I'm trying to think of other finals teams, again, the Celtics in 2022. Miami was just undrafted free agents in Jimmy Butler, so it's but Bam was drafted.
Yes.
So that's another one of those situations. Who made the finals last year was Dallas, right? So Dallas, obviously,
Luka.
Before the brain rot, Luka was drafted.
Yep.
And, that whole team, Derek Lively was drafted, stuff like that. So the draft is super important to building good teams because I just don't like the whole disgruntled star dynamic because they're already upset leaving. They want to come to this team. And then they're going to have all the leverage because, I want you to do this, this, and this. And if you don't do that, I'm asking for a trade.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, Tyler, you make a really good point here. You make a really good case, and you almost got me. You almost had me convinced to join your side on this topic here. But I think when you have a top 3 player in the world available, and he wants to go to your team, I think you go for it. I do. And you still have so many picks left over because you're the Nets and you just fleeced the Knicks. So you still have so many picks, you know what I mean? So you can give them picks and still have a wealth of picks.
I want to personally thank you for reminding me of that.
Yes,
About fleecing the Knicks.
But also,
No, just
wait, the
hold on.
majority of those picks
Anthony.
are starting the next decade. Giannis will be retired by then.
Okay, Anthony, hold on.
Yeah.
Imagine Giannis and Cooper Flag on the same team.
But that's the thing. What if we don't get him?
They'd have to trade this year's
What if
pick.
we
It's the
don't
high
get
pick.
him?
No, they
forget.
don't have to.
We don't.
They don't have to.
We don't. We can
Oh,
draft
okay.
Cooper Flag and trade other picks.
Okay. All right.
But-
That's fair.
Here's my thing, right?
Could you imagine?
There's two things I want to say about this, and I think this will convince you to finally join my side here. Cooper Flag, I want this to be like Wemby. I don't want to rush Cooper Flag into contention right away, because however good he is, he's not ready for that. I want to take things slow and develop, because that's what the Celtics did. That's what the Nuggets did. That's what the Thunder are doing. That's what the Magic are doing. That's what the Cavs did.
Okay.
A lot of these teams take it slow. So I don't want to just do this right
We have
away.
patience.
Right. We have patience, because I don't want to go all in for one championship and then struggle. I want to build a dynasty in Brooklyn, New York. And here's the thing. We already traded for the 30-year-old superstar in 2019, but we were in a much different situation that called for that. We had no draft picks. We had a team of really good role players that just needed that one little bit of oomph, and that's what KD and Kyrie offered. Here, we still have those pieces. Ironically, D'Lo's somehow back, but we have D'Lo and Cam Johnson. We have promising young players, Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe. We have other good pieces like Zaire Williams and all those guys, but we have the draft picks, and we don't have the guaranteed years on these players. If you go back to the 2018-19 season, outside of D'Angelo Russell, I think LeVert was still on his rookie deal. Joe Harris had 1 year left on his deal. Jared Allen was drafted recently, so he was still on his rookie deal. And, those were good building blocks. We don't know who our building blocks are now.
Okay.
So if we win the lottery, or even if we get a top 6 pick, any of those guys are good foundational pieces to build around. And then eventually they become that star, rather than risking it all for a guy in Giannis that hasn't made it out the second round in 4 years.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, if this trade were to happen and the picks turn out to be the deja vu picks of Tatum and Brown from the KG and Paul Pierce trade, you don't want that to happen again. So you hold on to those picks.
Yeah, because I don't honestly know. I don't know what picks that we would want to give them, and I don't know what picks they would want from us. They could want the Knicks picks. They could want the Mavs pick in 2029.
All right, let me ask, do you entertain it? And let's say you get a good deal out of it. Do you go for it? Not even if you get a good deal.
I'm very out on Giannis. The only player that I would be slightly intrigued by to answer the phone would be Zion.
Okay.
He's the only one. I'm not answering the phone for anyone else, and I still wouldn't even trade for Zion.
Even with Zion's eating?
No, I wouldn't trade for
New York has a whole lot of nice food places.
Look, seeing what Dyson Daniels did after leaving New Orleans, it could bode well for Zion.
Okay.
We'll see what happens when Ingram comes back in Toronto. So it could be different.
Yes.
You're right.
That's
so
true.
Zion's the only person I would even.
How old is Zion right now?
20. I think he's 6 months
24.
older. He's 6 months either older or younger than me. So he's around my age, 24, 25.
Okay.
Yeah, he's there.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Good take.
Yeah. I think both ways. I think the best thing to have is assets. Look at the Thunder. Their team is amazing,
I don't know about that.
and they have the assets still.
The good thing to have is assets, but you can't do what Sam Presti did and just sit on them for a decade. You have to actually utilize them. Either make the picks and play the guys, or trade them.
Yeah.
Like if the Thunder don't win the finals this year, obviously they could have easily won with this roster, but you had so many picks that weren't even risky that you could have gotten for Lauri Markkanen, or you could have gotten for Jimmy Butler, or whoever. So you need to have some sort of aggression with all those picks and all those assets, and that just kind of is what it is. But tanking does work, if you know how to draft.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good points.
So yeah. Do you guys have any sort of thoughts or anything on this? I know I know I talked most of this segment, but
No.
I am the only one involved with this situation.
No, yeah.
You kind of changed my opinion on that, so good job.
Awesome, let's go.
Good
I
job.
think we covered it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
So, do we have any final thoughts before we move into the team spotlights?
No,
Let's move.
All right, Sean Marks, behave you. So before we get into the team spotlight, we unfortunately have some very sad news to share. I just saw this on Twitter. I am heartbroken. So the Atlanta Hawks, you know how they do, like, English. Every NBA team does the like a half court shot or like the layup, free throw, 3-pointer, half court challenge, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the Atlanta Hawks were doing that, and on the layup attempt, a fan reportedly tore his ACL during a tic-tac-toe halftime event.
Oh,
Oh my God.
that sounds like Anthony.
Oh,
on,
that poor
on
guy,
Thursday.
That was bad.
We were playing pickleball.
That
We were
was
playing
bad.
pickleball, and Anthony like runs.
On one of the worst
Yeah.
courts we've ever seen in our lives.
No, it's
wasn't that bad.
It's a great court. You just
decent court.
have bad shoes. That's just on you.
that could
Not,
be
and
it.
you also have a history of
Yeah.
like knee
Well,
and
foot.
ankle injury.
Foot.
No, but
Yeah.
I don't like that rubber grate pickleball court.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. But
Yeah.
Anthony almost tore his ACL. so.
Something like that. Yeah, something knee related.
How's your knee, by the way?
I'm fine.
Okay.
He's good.
But
But
How did this guy almost tear his ACL? What was he doing?
he did tear his ACL.
did?
He went up for the layup, and as soon as he stepped, his knee buckled completely. I could send you the clip that
Wow.
we could watch afterwards. But
Yeah.
if that guy's ever watching this, shout out you. Prayers up. Hopefully everything's
insane.
okay.
Sorry,
But
that's kind of funny, but it's not.
yeah, it's just unfortunate. Hopefully bro's okay and he can look back on this in a few years and laugh. I need my hat. My hair is just not cooperating today. But welcome to the Team Spotlight segment. We have two teams today that we're going to talk about, as you can tell in the chapters down below. One good, one bad. Gia, we're going to give you the choice here. What do we want to talk about first? Good or bad?
Let's go with the good.
Talk about the good. All right. Let's talk about a team that is thriving that ESPN refuses to talk about, the Boston Celtics. A bit of a change of pace for us because the last time we talked about Boston was about a month and a half ago, and they were not playing very good.
Right.
They were in that little, that period when everyone just starts playing like a fat ass and just,
Yeah.
they were just playing very, Antoine loves to use the word lackluster a lot. That's essentially what it was. But in March, and no one's talked about this, the Celtics went 14-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Insane. And,
Yeah.
because
St. Patty's Day.
exactly, yeah. And they didn't play on St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah, they
man. What's up with that?
Bro, the NBA this season has pissed me off in more ways than one because not only did that not happen, the Hawks didn't play on Martin Luther King Day.
Yep.
The Thunder or Bucks did not play on Christmas. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah.
I understand the Knicks versus Spurs was a good game, but that did not need to happen.
It didn't need to happen, but it was a good game.
It was a
It
good
was.
game. It
I
didn't need
think
to
it
happen.
was good that Wemby played on Christmas.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least like Wemby versus Giannis on Christmas would have been
Yeah,
amazing.
that would
be
fun.
Bro. Because that game they had last year when Wemby had that behind the back dunk and when Giannis got blocked.
Yeah.
That was such a good game.
was crazy.
One of my favorite regular season games in the last however many years. But back to Boston. Let's talk about the Celtics because they deserve to be talked about because, rightfully so, Cleveland deserves more praise this year because of the way they've been playing, as per standards. But in the month of March, Boston had the second best record because OKC played an extra game. But the Celtics are second in offensive rating, 123.3 in that month. And in defensive rating, they were 10th. So top 2 offense, top 10 defense. Together, that equates for a net rating of 12.3, which puts them in the second spot behind, you guessed it, the OKC Thunder, who also deserve to be talked about more, ESPN. But, I think this is going to be our bread and butter, giving people the praise when they deserve it because the media won't talk about them.
So we'll do it for them.
Exactly, we'll do it for them. But does it ever frustrate you when a team just does everything so perfect and so right? That's kind of the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Like when they released that City Edition jersey, I was like, finally, they messed up on something. It was about time they did.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's insane the way they're playing. Joe Mazzulla finally has this kind of figured out.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact metric when we talked about them last time, but the Celtics were shooting so poor from three as a team. They've gotten up to 37%. So big improvement across the board. And as far as 3-point frequency, they're still shooting 56 a game in the month, which is nuts. But from what I do remember, the individual players were not shooting the ball well. I think Derek White was shooting like 22% from three or something similar to that.
Yeah.
In the month of March, of guys that actually got, more attempts up per game, Sam Hauser shooting 44% from three, Tingus Pingus 41%. Baylor Shireman hasn't played much, but he's shooting 47%. He played so well against us and helped our tank. Shout out Broski. 38% for Drew Holiday, 40% for Peyton Pritchard, 36% for Al Horford, 35% for Derek White. Jason Tatum shooting 31%. We're not going to talk about that. Jaylen Brown 28%. But again, we're just not going to talk about that. It's okay.
That's fine.
But in this month, that's been the huge strength for the Boston Celtics. Because Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have not been playing the greatest. They could still, improve on certain aspects of their game this season. But even in games when they don't play, you have Derek White and Peyton Pritchard combined for 84 points in a game.
Just crazy.
Like, what is that?
Their supporting cast is so good.
They're nuts. And like I said, I'm a Nets fan. I'm supposed to hate Boston. I can't.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't. I actively seek ways to hate the Celtics. I can't
find anything?
I can't. I just can't.
Wow.
I can't.
It says a lot, man.
It is because, in being brutally honest, I love the way they play outside of the excessive amount of threes.
Okay.
I love the star players they have. I love the role players they have. And I love the way the franchise is run.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's perfect.
It's how you do basketball right there.
How you do basketball. And the way, the way they handled their rebuild is how I want the Nets to handle ours.
Right.
Because the way Danny Ainge built that team up slowly and then passed the torch on to Brad Stevens, who's doing an even better job than he did.
Textbook.
I want Sean Marks to do the same thing. Build, pass it along to someone that can take you over the top. Because it's clear he can't be the one to do that. So yeah, I mean, outside of that, the Celtics look primed for another deep playoff run. So,
They're my pick to win it all. So
you know what, Gio? Since you're so high on the Celtics, we're going to give you the floor.
Now,
Talk
listen,
about them.
I'm going to pass that one to Anthony.
Okay.
Because for the sole reason that I'm going to be talking about them more in depth in the next segment because they're on my list for playoff weaknesses.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine.
So I don't want to foreshadow and give anything away.
That's
so
totally
Anthony,
fair.
you can go get into it.
Well, I mean, they're the reigning champs for a reason, and I think their record speaks for it, and even their players. Al Horford has not lost a step. Just phenomenal on his part.
Yeah, seriously.
The starting five, same thing with them. Porzingis looks healthy. We love that. We wanted that to be a staple for this year and for the postseason playoffs because we missed him last year, even though they still won. PP has stepped it up massively. Sixth man of the year. Baylor Shireman, their first round. They have a knack for finding white 3-point shooters, hence PP, Hauser, Baylor Shireman. So their bench depth is elite. They're the bread and butter of bench depth. Plus, who would have predicted Al Horford to still be doing this at his age?
Yeah.
That's kind of we've seen guys that have taken complete derails at this age, and Al Horford has seemed to not embrace that. He's embracing still being young. So
Seems like he got better.
yeah.
Well,
that's
I mean,
aging like fine wine.
That's the beauty of the Celtics because I guarantee you, if Horford was on any other team, he would have to take on responsibilities that he can't do anymore.
True.
The Celtics literally identified his strengths and specifically play him where he needs to do that.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, don't forget that
What a team.
They signed him and then they traded him a season after, and then they brought him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
that was one of the smartest things. Like
100%.
this, like obviously, I know Tatum and Brown are the stars. You got Drew Holiday, you got Porzingis, you got all these guys. The heartbeat of this team is him and Derek White. Without them, the Celtics would probably be the 5 seed in the East right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They push them to levels that they don't even know that they're at. That's how good, that's how impactful the two of them are specifically.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it would have been nice to see Derek White with Wemby in San Antonio, but when you're the Celtics and you get a trade like that given to you along with Drew Holiday as well, you get your whole backcourt just thrown to you for like a bag of chips.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
You take it, and that backcourt transformed that whole team because without them, you've been looking at Marcus Smart, who's still very reliable. And of course, the Kyrie experiment didn't work out like it was supposed to, but regardless, you take the Holiday White duo and you just run with it and don't look back.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, just even looking at the trades that they've made to get these guys, like you got Derek White for Romeo Langford. Like, it's like
That was it.
Oh,
it was
my
Romeo
gosh.
Langford and I think a first round pick. You got Porzingis you almost got Porzingis for night without even giving up Marcus Smart. You had to give him up, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
The only mistake they really made was when you brought in Malcolm Brogdon, you gave away Neesmith, who's turned into a really good role player.
Neesmith was.
But then what do? You flip Brogdon for Drew freaking Holiday.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. Not to mention, they completely duped Philly in 2017, 2018 when they traded the first pick so the Sixers could take Markelle Fultz.
Yes.
And then the Lakers didn't know how to draft, and then
Lonzo.
Tatum fell to third. Like, how?
Yeah,
Like, it's
They
ridiculous.
took Lonzo.
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I can't hate this team.
I know they
really
wanted
want
Tatum,
to.
but
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like Aaron Neesmith would have been a major plus for this team if he was like he was now in Indiana. But we can't think about he was kind of piss poor in Boston. I mean, they got Hauser
No, he
now
wasn't.
and all those guys.
He wasn't piss poor. He
he was
was
a
just
decent player.
He was all right.
the year him and Romeo Langford played was against us when they didn't have
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Tatum was kind of banged up throughout the season. I'm pretty sure that in that playoff series they started Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Aaron Neesmith, Tatum, and Robert Williams.
Yeah.
So, and if Robert Williams was healthier, he would have still been on the team. But the fact, like, you're able to survive in the playoffs with Luke Cornett minutes, and he's like actually a positive. on the
Yes.
floor.
Right, he's decent.
Yeah.
Knicks legend. On the
So
Knicks for a little bit. We never played him.
Yeah.
Could have used him.
just like
You
most
absolutely
players on
could.
that team.
Uh,
But
Wow.
yeah,
Listen.
man. Look, Boston's coming. Pause.
yeah, I mean,
Boston is here already.
Yeah.
They're not coming. They're here.
No, but like they're coming because right now it's just everything's about OKC and Cleveland.
Yeah.
They're the two teams that have been far and away the best.
Yeah.
Boston's in their own sort of tier, and then everyone else is behind them. So Boston's hot on both their tails, and I'm really curious to see what happens if we get a Cleveland-Boston conference finals. Which
I already know what's going to happen with there.
you're probably predicting a sweep of
Cleveland chokes. Boston goes on.
well,
to win
listen.
it all.
I mean, listen. You can't always write off the reigning champions. I think that's always a plus, unless they fall incrementally worse. But they have not. So
Yeah.
this is the team for now, and this is going to be their prime for the next 3 or 4.
this
years.
is your projected championship winner, the Celtics.
Did I
This
say
is the team.
no?
You had OKC win.
No.
In the last time we talked about it, you said OKC.
Oh,
was gonna
but
win
I'm talking
against
about
Boston.
like preseason predictions.
Preseason we all had Denver, and that's not
Oh
happening.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah,
Still
for
OKC for now.
I'm gonna have a real tough time in the Eastern Conference Final
Yes, we
because-
all are. I think.
because the two teams, Boston's either playing Indiana or Cleveland, and I'm stupidly high on both of them. If they meet, because for Indiana and Cleveland to knock out each other, it's going to be so convincing that I might pick them against Boston. That's where I'm struggling here. I don't know. It really depends on what version of Donovan Mitchell and Tyrese Halliburton you're going to get.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you why soon enough why you shouldn't pick the Pacers against the Celtics.
Okay.
But
All right.
we'll get into that soon.
We'll have to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, do we have any final thoughts on Boston
No.
before we get into the next team?
Yeah. Let's go to the bad.
All right. Well, let's talk about the biggest atrocity in the NBA.
Yep.
Phoenix Suns. My God, this team sucks, bro.
Yep.
God bless me. I willingly sat down last week and watched a Phoenix Suns game.
You actually did.
I don't know why I did it. I genuinely don't know why I did it. I had no interest. I was
Like
just
you actually turned on the TV and just like watched, sat there and
I
watched.
genuinely watched a Phoenix Suns
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Katie is there. It's kind of fun.
game. Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's not fun, bro. I don't know. That is what we like to call 2 hours I will never get back.
Yeah, exactly.
But unfortunately, I think it was 2 days ago, Kevin Durant went up for a layup, and that left ankle just rolled nastily.
Yeah.
Was diagnosed with an ankle sprain, of course, and will be out at least a week.
Yeah.
But the Suns are either clinging onto the 10 seed or they're the 11 seed. They're somewhere in the mix.
They're a game behind.
They're in the
10
11 seed, right?
Yeah. a game behind the
So
10 seed.
now that KD's gone, I don't really know what sort of expectations the Suns have because they were going to be in this episode, but now that KD's out, I took them out because they're not even occupying a play-in spot.
Yeah.
So,
No.
Gio, since you can talk about the Suns,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the floor.
Yeah.
You can go ham.
I mean, look, the Suns, we have always been like, I mean, you were pretty high on the Suns
I
going
was
into the season, which
and
was
they
pretty
started
surprising.
off so good.
They started off like what was it, like 7-1?
It was 7-1.
Like that.
The Lakers and the Suns started the season on a combined like
Yeah.
13-2. It was ridiculous.
And then what was it that happened that they just came straight down? What was it? You guys remember?
Well, the KD injury.
That was like later on though.
Was it Nurkic and Beal?
I think it was just cold. They just went
Yeah,
cold.
no,
They
I
went
think
completely cold.
Nurkic and Beal's insanity run came to an end.
Okay.
And then, well, obviously, like when you start out that good, you regress to the mean.
Right. But they went lower than the mean.
Yeah, they went from hero to zero.
Yeah. So I don't know what that was.
I mean,
but
they have the second hardest remaining strength of schedule throughout the rest of the season, so maybe they started off the year against easier opponents.
maybe.
Let me actually look at their schedule
take
right
a
now.
look.
Yeah, take a check. But yeah, I mean,
Curious by
boring to watch. I don't think I watched one game with the
Of
Suns
Phoenix.
this entire year. So
Yeah. I mean,
You're
listen.
lucky.
Listen, they have a good rookie in Ryan Dunn. That's probably the only bright spot they have for their future. But
They also have Oso Iguodala.
Also Iguodala. Yes, very two good guys that are going to be.
I know Booker was playing pretty well
Yeah.
for a stretch.
What changed was like a couple weeks ago, they finally benched Tyus Jones for Colin Gillespie.
Yes,
Tyus Jones as a starter,
fell off.
bro, he's so bad.
Yeah,
He's a good point guard, but bring him off the bench, man.
yeah, he's a bench
Yeah,
player.
Colin Gillespie started. Also, like they traded Nurkic and they got Nick Richards, and they got worse.
Damn.
Nick Richards is not a starting caliber center at all.
Yeah.
That's the big problem. And they got traded a first round pick to Charlotte with Nurkic. They're better off keeping Nurkic. Nick Richards' minutes are kind of awful.
Okay, so I have the schedule up here.
So
I'll put it on the screen if I have time in the edit because it usually takes me a while and it's already like 9 o'clock at night. We want to get this out tomorrow, but so you open up against the Kawhi-less Clippers. This was before they started playing really good.
Yeah.
You lose to the Lakers. You played Dallas, which Dallas was good at the time.
Oh yeah.
Then you beat the Lakers again. Then you beat the Clippers. Then the Blazers. Then the Embiid-less Sixers. Then the Heat, which were they were kind of butt.
Yes.
Then they beat the Mavs.
Again.
And then the games they lost, you lose to OKC, you lose to Minnesota, you lose to a hot Orlando at the time. The Knicks were hot at the time. You lost to the Nets, who started the season off insane.
Yeah.
So, maybe
Yeah.
it was kind of like a strength of schedule
It was
thing.
a tough schedule.
At the time of the season where they were playing them,
Exactly.
kind of how it felt.
They went on a 5-game skid, a 3-game skid. They went on a skid where they lost 7 of their last 8 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they went on a humongous losing streak in February and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they're playing the Bucks right now. Let me check the score. It's probably not. The Bucks are destroying them. It's 93-75.
Yeah,
so.
just pack them up.
I mean, listen,
They're done.
Wrap it up.
They've been having a big identity crisis for the past 2 years.
They don't know what the hell
it's
they're
going to
doing.
continue into the off season until they figure it out. And there's only probably like 2 or 3 answers to the fixing it, and that's Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and maybe head coaching, or
Definitely head coach.
who knows.
Even
GM.
they need to blow it up.
Blow the
That's
entire
literally
thing
what
up.
you do.
Like a singular lateral move is just going to make things worse. It's just
Yeah.
going to prolong the midness that there is. Because bro,
What do you think they do?
I mean,
Trade away their stars, right?
well, Kevin Durant's gone. We know that.
Yeah.
Budenholzer's good as gone. I think we can agree on that.
That's so sad.
Do they trade Booker?
2 coaches.
I think you have to trade Booker. They're not going to, but you should. I mean, Booker's got 32 right now in the third quarter.
Damn.
But
Doing everything he can do.
he's doing everything he can. And
Yeah.
Giannis has 30. It's insane. You're letting Ryan Rollins go off.
Hey, Ryan Rollins
So-
actually has been getting the point guard minutes for
He's,
Dame.
he's a good player. He's a good player, but come on. A team with Devin Booker and all those guys, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
So
It's sad. I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
they're gonna be paying 2 head coaches if they do fire Bud for the next 5 years,
they're already paying Monty Williams still.
and so make it 3. Third time's a charm.
They should have just kept him.
Monty Williams right now is getting paid by 2 franchises.
This is insane.
It's
Yeah,
nuts.
They
Pro
should have
is-
just kept Monty Williams, right?
They should
Monty
have.
was good.
Like, why do you I don't know. He was the coach of the year, right? And then he had one bad season.
Remember, Coach of the Year is a cursed award because
Yeah.
it gives you false expectations.
Yeah.
Because it never goes to the guys at the top. It will this year because, it might not because the way Detroit's playing. It's either going to Bickerstaff or Kenny Atkinson. So,
yeah.
but it's going to, it'll put essentially both of them on the hot seat now because, Coach of the Year, you got to win now.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. And, inevitably, if the Knicks get first rounded, Tom Thibodeau's gone. He's the last remaining coach of the year in the past, 8 or 9 years that still has a job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with the Tibbs ball. I've had enough of it. I think I've seen it at its worst and at its best.
You're not supposed to say that, Knicks fan.
Look,
I love
Supposed to be
Tibbs ball.
optimistic.
I love Tibbs ball.
Thank you.
I think it was my dad that said it. After a while, there starts to be a burnout with Tibbs.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see that now, especially now that they've gutted the team to get Mikal Bridges, which is still hilarious to me. We'll just have to see. But if the Bucks keep slipping, you will get lucky and get them in the first round. But as of right now, it's looking like first round series in Detroit.
Yeah, I think we lose that.
No way.
Have you seen the way Detroit's been playing?
I don't think you lose against
I think
Detroit.
I don't know. It could
Detroit's
be a
been
win.
playing very good.
Detroit's
could be a win.
been winning games without Cade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a win.
impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
No, I don't think. I think the Knicks win. But
Yeah.
it's gonna
See.
it'll be a hard fought series though.
You're gonna need to pray for an Isaiah Stewart suspension,
Yes,
which is
that
pretty
too.
likely.
Exactly.
I would love to see a Pistons.
He's not even that good though.
He is actually.
He is, but he just gets suspended.
Isaiah
a lot.
Stewart is
okay.
Isaiah Stewart's a brilliant stretch big.
He's just an enforcer.
Yeah,
And he's not a stretch big.
he is. He can
can't
shoot.
shoot.
He can.
He can shoot threes.
Yeah,
No way.
he can.
All right.
Yeah. He's
How many
spacious.
how many threes does he shoot a game?
I'll take a look
I'm,
right
I'm,
now.
I'm not familiar with Isaiah. I just know about the LeBron and the brawl and
Yeah,
the brawl that
that's-
happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
I know he was a starter and he also was a good
of,
bench guy.
Think of Isaiah Stewart. He's Draymond without the backpack.
Okay.
Okay.
see what you're saying.
Think of it like that.
That's
Draymond without the backpack.
So
That makes
Exactly.
he stands up straight.
He's
He's an
shooting.
enforcer.
He's shooting 32% from three this season.
That's okay.
It's below average.
For a
though.
center. That's pretty good though.
Yeah, for a second.
Considering Duran doesn't shoot threes at all.
How many does he shoot a game? Does it say or no?
For Isaiah, he shoots just over one.
Yeah,
Okay.
he
So he's
gets
not,
bench
I wouldn't call him a
minutes.
shooter.
No, but he can stretch the floor, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
he gets
and-
bench minutes.
Yeah, because you'll see him floating around the top of the key. Like if Cade needs spacing inside,
Mm-hmm.
he'll drive in, he'll pick and pop outside, whether he gets the ball or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to know what the Knicks could do in a series against the Pistons because of the defensive presence they bring, mainly with Asar Thompson,
Yeah.
and especially because
Yeah.
we don't know when Brunson's coming back.
Yeah.
He's still out.
Yeah, he said before playoffs.
He'll be back.
He said
see.
5 games to go or 4 games to go. In the
But that
season.
doesn't mean he's going to be 100%.
No, it's not.
Doesn't.
So
So that's a worry. But
Yeah.
as far as Phoenix goes,
We
take
don't
that out to
know.
the back of the barn and just
Yeah.
end it. Like
we'll have more in the offseason for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's literally what we're waiting for.
they got to pack that shit up
No,
ASAP.
Really.
Yeah.
So,
Done.
so do we have any final thoughts regarding the Suns of the Celtics before we get into the playoff weaknesses?
No, let's go.
Into the main segment. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be going through every playoff team this season and exposing their biggest weakness. Basically the main reason why they can and will be eliminated. Now, obviously, it's this time of year. A lot of different shows and podcasts are doing this exact format, so why not just hop on the trend? We might as well. We have our own thoughts to share regarding all of these teams. So we have 18 total, so 6 for each of us. We're going to take it in turns, alternating through, and we'll kind of talk about it. We'll kind of set the scene for each situation, and then we'll debate it for a few minutes and then move on to the next one. So do we have any sort of questions, comments, concerns before we get things started?
No. Let's get it to it.
All right, let us know in the comments if you guys have any sort of hot takes regarding weaknesses for any of your teams or any rival teams or anything like that. And Antoine, kick us off with your first team. Who do we got?
All right. So this just happened to be in the order I put it in. There's
Knicks.
okay. Yeah, the Knicks are first, and the biggest weaknesses I have are 2 words, and I'm sure every Knicks fan knows the 2 words. It may just be 1 word if you're just saying it, but it's bench depth. That is the biggest weakness. It has always been the biggest weakness. It looks a lot better now, actually, because Landry Shamet is actually hitting 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And Mitchell Robinson is back. We're still waiting on Campaign and Miles McBride.
How's Mitch playing though?
What?
How's Mitch playing?
He's been okay.
He's been okay.
Yeah, he's been okay. We were still waiting for Cam Payne and Miles McBride to come back. Of course, Brunson. Precious Achiuwa, I'm kind of over him. He's all right. But we need some better bench guys. Miles McBride's clearly the main bench guy at the moment. That's probably going to be trusted the most in the playoffs, along with Mitch. Shamet maybe, Payne, I'm sure. But it's kind of it's lackluster.
Yeah.
very much. And I've never liked the bench depth from the beginning, and that is the biggest weakness.
From the beginning.
Yeah, basically from the beginning.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't necessarily call their bench depth weak because Tibbs just never uses them anyways.
Right.
So like,
You just don't know their full potential.
I still think it's very weak.
I think Campaign is decent, though. He can have some games.
He's okay.
He can have some games where he plays really
McBride
well.
is the best bench player there.
McBride,
Yeah, for sure.
McBride is by far the only bench player on that team I actually trust.
Yeah.
Because Landry Shamet played very well for us in the regular season in 2021. He was a total net negative on both ends in the playoffs. And Landry Shamet, when he's on your team, you are guaranteed a heartbreaking Game 7 loss.
Shoot.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Because he was
He's trying to
on.
speak that into existence,
Well,
bro.
he was on the Sixers in 2019. He was on the Clippers in 2020. He was on the Nets in 2021. He was on the Suns in 2022.
Holy.
Yeah, it's a nasty habit this man is on. I feel
Yikes.
awful for him. But, it's one thing to deal with the Kawhi shot. Then you got to deal with the 3-1 blown lead.
Yeah.
Then the Nets debacle happened, toe on the line. Then you get blown out by the Mavs in Game 7.
Yeah.
I don't even know what team he was on last year. I don't even think he made the playoffs last year.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a curse. But for me, like the obviously outside of the durability of Brunson regarding his ankle, because he's not going to be 100%, I think the biggest weakness is going to be your starting role players. I think
Ooh.
because if you don't get good games from Mikal Bridges, like if he gets locked up, then that's going to be a huge reason why they go home. Whether
Yeah.
that's him, whether it's OG Anunoby. I can't really put too much pressure on Josh Hart because bro does it all. But
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the thing.
Tell me your
Okay.
starting lineup in the playoffs right now. So it's
It's the same.
Brunson, Hart,
Bridges.
McCall, OG, and
Yeah.
Towns.
Yeah.
That's your starting
That's
five.
it.
Okay.
Same one.
Yeah, that worries me.
Yeah.
I don't like Cat at the 5.
I don't like OG at the 4.
Yeah.
Well, Hart's at the 4.
So, Hart's at the I don't like Hart at the 4.
OG's at the 3. Yeah.
And McCall's at the 2.
Yeah.
You know what I think they should do? Move McCall to the bench. They're not going to do it.
They won't, but they
But
should.
they should absolutely,
They absolutely
move McCall to the
should.
bench. Bring
McBride.
McBride at the 2
Yeah.
starting.
But then you lose bench punch.
But no, but I think
McCall's your
McCall.
Mikhail's not going to play
No, but
that
I
good
think
off the
McCall,
bench.
when he's by himself, I think he can produce better. It's hard for him to find his way with all these other guys in the starting lineup. I think when he's by himself, it simplifies the game for him
Yeah.
to where he can actually produce more, like he did in
Fair.
Brooklyn. You know,
But you need a point guard on the floor, and who's going to be the point guard on the floor?
well, who was the point guard in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn, it was
Ben Simmons, like
no when who when Mikhail was there.
McCall was there.
When Mikhail was there, we had Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie, okay,
McCall-
he's decent.
Yeah, and then when I think Dinwiddie was there because he got traded for Kyrie, and Dinwiddie's a playmaker. He would get like 10, 12 assists in a lot of games. And outside of Brunson, there's really not a good playmaker on that team.
Yeah,
So I the only way for this to work is to put Cat at the 4 and play Mitchell Robinson at the 5.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
I would
but
do that.
Mitchell Robinson is going to get eaten alive in any playoff series at this current moment in time.
Yeah.
And that's like the big issue. Because like even if you do beat Detroit or Milwaukee or whoever, like do you really think this team has any chance against Boston?
Well, no,
No. That's where it stops.
Right. Because like the we all know that's their ceiling, but like these weaknesses, I don't even know if they can even handle Detroit.
yeah.
They've already beaten them twice this year.
What do you think about that, Anthony? Can they handle Detroit?
I think they can, but it's a rising young team, and they're hungry. And we may not be as hungry as they are.
So the Pistons can win,
They could.
bro.
It's easily doable.
You have to be an optimistic Knicks fan.
Oh, I'm not optimistic. I am optimistic, but to an extent.
I need you to be a little bit delusional when it comes to your team.
Yeah, you should. Because even I'm delusional with the Nets sometimes.
Yeah, that's how
I
it's
think
supposed to
they
be.
could win that series. The Jalen Duren and Cat. Joe Duren's like
When it comes, listen,
Tobias Harris too. No,
when it comes to your team,
no.
you have to forget the realistic, right? And then you have to be a little bit delusional when it comes to your team.
Well, Tobias Harris is there. I think they'll win.
All right, fine.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my answer.
Bro goes
to
for the
that.
ultra delusion.
All right, who's next?
But
Yeah,
yeah,
G.
do we have
Me?
any final thoughts regarding the Knicks? I don't know
No.
if we were done.
No, yeah.
But
Let's go, G.
it's funny. I was just looking at their depth, and it's just so many suspension stuff.
Oh my God,
Oh yeah, for Detroit for now, yeah, because
Oh,
of
yeah.
the fight.
Stewart. We
And
didn't even
Ron
talk about the
Holland.
fight.
Yeah, we didn't. It was a great fight.
It was.
I don't really know what happened to them.
DiVincenzo was basically trash talking Isaiah Stewart. He was like, F no, F no, F no. He said it 3 times when Isaiah Stewart took like a mid-range like floater jump shot.
And Rudy got involved too.
Rudy got a little bit involved. Isaiah Stewart came down on the other side, shoved DiVincenzo, and then everyone just joined in.
No, Ron Holland started that.
Yeah,
Ron Holland started that one?
Pushed him, yeah. Okay. Someone posted it was
the whole game there was like chippiness going on.
But someone said, "Oh, look who started it, Isaiah Stewart." Bro used a clip where Isaiah Stewart was never in frame.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
No, I think he did start.
No. He wasn't a part of it. He wasn't part of it.
He was just an instigator earlier in the game.
Yeah.
It was McDaniels,
okay,
Ron Holland, DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Stewart joined in and everything like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll talk about the Pistons more in a bit.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do yours, G, or do you want me to do mine?
I'll get into mine.
All righty.
So I'll start off with the Rockets.
Ooh, okay.
So the Rockets, I have that they're inexperienced, as we know. They're young. They don't really know who's that guy that's going to step up. And when you're in the playoffs, you need to know that.
Yeah.
You know, because then it comes down to late game execution, right? When you don't know who the guy is, you don't really know how to execute in those minutes where, you know, the game's on the line. You know what I mean? So that's been their this season in close games. They haven't been executing very well. And then also another thing for them is road games. They're not good on the road.
They are not.
So those are 2 things I would say are their weaknesses going into the playoffs. Late game execution, not knowing who that guy is, and road games. So
okay. Well, to calm yourself down a little bit, because I know you like the Rockets.
I do.
The Warriors in 2023 were like one of the worst road teams ever, and they actually did beat the Kings in the first round. So at least the Rockets we know can at least get past round 1.
They could probably do that.
They will have, if they can hold the 2 seed, they'll get home court advantage for the first 2 rounds.
Okay. They're going to need it.
They're definitely going to need it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look, this team needs to figure out some sort of identity regarding, you know, who's what.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they want to be.
Yeah.
There's an identity crisis going on. And that's basically the whole West outside of OKC.
Yeah.
Everyone's just kind of trying to figure things out.
Yeah, like I saw Ime Udoka, he benched Jalen Green. I think it was a game against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Benched Jalen Green with like 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. I'm like, and he had like 27 points at that point.
Yeah.
It's a close game. I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, obviously this team doesn't know who the guy is in the late minutes of the game. So hopefully they figure that out soon.
What lineup would you close a playoff game with?
With the Rockets?
Yeah.
Obviously Şengün, he needs to be out there.
Yep.
I think Fred VanVleet, his experience is going to be very helpful in late game. I think Jalen Green needs to be out there. He's top 2 player on that team, in my opinion. Top 3, actually.
Yeah, top 3.
Because I think Amen Thompson has elevated his game a lot, so he needs to be out there as well. And then the last position...
this is the most interchangeable.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know
actually
who I would
diabolical.
Put here. Who would you put here?
I'm trying to figure that out because, like, it really depends on, like, what you need. Oh, Dylan Brooks. Never mind.
Dylan Brooks,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks
He's been
has
playing great.
he's completely grown on me as a player.
Yeah.
He still has his antics,
Yeah.
but I love this Houston version of Dylan Brooks. He's awesome.
He's good.
He was locking up LeBron
He was.
the other night, bro.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It was looking good.
Dylan Brooks, man, he's good on defense and he's been playing great on offense.
Yeah.
You know, so
He's a great player, man.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna be he's gonna be an impactful player for them. And I think that is the best kind of lineup going forward for this team. I just don't really see anyone else offering any more in a closing lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the one good thing about not having a star is that there's no non-star minutes to survive because everyone's kind of doing things.
right, everyone's kind of good. Yeah,
So
that's where they're at right now.
exactly, yeah. I mean, look, the Rockets can do anything. They can do anything.
They could.
They can get swept in the first round. They can win the finals. Like,
I don't know about win the finals. But
Well, you know what
they
I
can get far.
yeah,
They
it's
can get far.
hyperbole.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Antoine?
I think I understand. We've been talking about that they've been lacking a superstar. Of course, KD could be in combo in the offseason. But the core that they have right now is phenomenal. And it's a better core than we have in New York, if I'm being honest. Bench-wise, if Reach ever pans out, hopefully soon to be even better. But like I said, every team in the West, I think, has a chance at it if OKC gets eliminated.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're set up for a good Western Conference playoffs because, we all know OKC, as good as they are, they easily could get bounced like last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just have to see.
Indeed.
So do we have any final thoughts on the Rockets? All right, let me get into my first team. Let's talk about the Orlando Magic, a team that has been frustrating me all freaking season.
Yeah.
Started out so well. They ironically were playing better when they were injured. I don't know why or how. But to me, this is pretty simple. At the Magic's weakness, they don't have a floor general. They have no point guard. They have no playmaker.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have no one that can get you in the right spots.
Yeah.
And, Jalen Suggs can somewhat do that, but he's out for the season. So this puts them in a trickier situation where we see that the Magic are consistently a bottom 3 offense in the league. They're starting to pick things up a little bit, but of course, when you do that, the defensive end kind of starts to fall off. So they're starting to fall off on that end while being mid on one other end. It's just not looking good. And we're not seeing consistencies from Paolo and from Franz Wagner. Paolo's picked it up as of late, but we need to see both of them cooking together at the same time. And without a floor general, I just don't really see how that panning out. So what are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, this is the theme we've been talking about all season long.
Yeah.
They need to trade for somebody in the offseason, whether it's LaMelo, Trae Young, other names, and insert them right away into that one spot. So right now, I don't really view them high in the playoffs. They're a play-in team.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna get eliminated either in the play-in or in the first round. Play-in, okay, that's fine. But I think
don't know. The East play-in teams are really bad.
I think next year is when they take off if they get that point guard and if everybody's healthy. This is just the beginning for them. And I know it's been a pretty just roller coaster year with the injuries to their two top guys as well.
Yeah.
But Jamal Mosley was the coach of the year finals last year. I have no doubt he'll be back to it next year, probably as a winner or a finalist again.
So right now, Gio, they would play the Hawks in the play-in.
Yeah.
If they win, you play Boston. If you lose that game, you play the winner of the Heat and Bulls. And if you win that game, you play Cleveland.
Who you got winning that game, Hawks or Magic?
Right now,
Either way.
Right now, I love the way Reece Sachet's playing.
Okay.
Yes.
I would give the Hawks the edge.
Yes.
And I think the Magic do beat both Miami or Chicago, and you probably lose to Cleveland in 4 or 5 games.
Yeah. That's how. Yeah, I would say that too.
Yeah.
Probably.
But I don't know, bro. The way
Makes
the Bulls are playing, anything can happen.
No,
Bulls are-
yeah,
Bulls are doing
exactly.
decent.
We're not talking about the Bulls or the Heat today, but, it
Maybe
kinda
next
is
year.
what it is. Yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be talking about both of them next year, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
But do you have any thoughts, Gio, on Orlando?
I mean, no, I think Anthony said everything I was going to say. Like, they've been looking for that one guard for a while, and hopefully they find it. But if they don't find that, they're not going to have success. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's very fair. So that concludes round 1. Let's get into our second round. Antoine, who's your next team?
I'm gonna get into a pretty funny one. I'm gonna get into the Mavericks. So I think this would have been funnier when they had all the injuries, but since everybody is back, including AD, PJ, Gaff, still waiting on Lively, I'm still gonna stick with this because I don't trust the health of these guys come playoff time. For me, their biggest weakness is their entire roster.
Dude.
That's where the line is for me. Obviously, I think looking at it right now, I would say probably the non-weaknesses would probably be, of course, Lively when he comes back, and maybe Gio, Max Christie. I think everybody else is a major weakness to them. And I'm not saying that because of Nico Harrison. I just think the roster build right now is a major weakness.
Wait, is Kyrie healthy or no?
No.
We talked about
he's
tearing
done.
his ACL.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
He's done.
I want to push back. This roster is actually half decent. The weakness is the dumbass running this team.
Yeah.
That's true.
I knew you was going to say that.
Yeah, but like in all actuality, like let's say for example, right, you throw out a lineup of what? You have Gafford at the 5, AD at the 4,
PJ at the 3.
PJ at the 3, Christie at the 2.
No, Clay at the 2.
Clay at the 2.
And
We'd run
Dinwiddie.
Christie at, no, I'd rather run Christie at the 2.
I agree.
Clay at point.
or whatever
No.
you do. Clay could probably come off the bench, or even if he doesn't, you could bring PJ off, whoever, right?
Yeah.
The team actually can,
not bad. That's
compete.
why I said that.
I think they can get out of the play-in if they really
Yeah, I
want
agree.
to. It's just the problem is if you win that game, you're looking at a matchup against Minnesota or LA, and I just really don't see you winning that game. So it's kind of tough. And even if you win that game, you got to go up against OKC. And the one man that could beat OKC is no longer on your roster.
Yep.
So that's a big problem. But I don't think the roster's as bad as we think. We're not even mentioning Najee Marshall.
Right.
Yes.
We always knew the
course.
Mavs had that team. They went to the finals last year.
Yeah.
You don't do that with scrubs. you
No.
know? Like, so other than Luka being gone, this team is still good.
No, they're bad. It's just they're good individually. They just don't have that top 5 player anymore.
Exactly. That's what it is.
So, but yeah, the Mavs are going nowhere.
No.
We'll see what they do.
How's AD been? Have
He
you been
played well.
watching?
He played well against us. Drew Timmy clamped his ass yesterday. It was
Yeah.
awesome. So
Nets legend Drew Timmy.
yeah, bro, he's hooping.
That's their starting center for the next year. Who's Nick Claxton anymore?
Nah, bro, Daron Sharp is our starting center.
And Daron
Drew,
Sharp.
Drew Timmy should be our 4 if Noah Clowney doesn't pan out, which he should. But
Timmy was great in college. We forget about that.
yeah, he dropped 50 in the G League about 2 weeks ago.
That's why they signed him, right?
basically.
That.
So
All right, G.
Yep.
What do you got for us?
get
Let's
to
go.
next team. What do you got?
Next team, I got the Boston Celtics.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Talked about.
We did just talk about
Yeah, but
it,
he
I
refused to say
saved
anything.
What I was
Oh, okay.
going to
Yeah.
say for this very moment.
What do you got, bro?
So, the Celtics' weaknesses going into the playoffs. Well, of course, you had to write down finals hangover because they were just getting over that. But then, as you said, in March they went 14-1.
Yep.
So it seems like that's kind of out the door.
Yeah.
So then, other than that, I have down here that they live and die by the 3.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
So when they're winning, they're killing from the 3-point line. When they're losing, they're terrible from the 3-point line. So they're living and dying by the 3. Another weakness that they have when they're losing is that they're lazy with the ball with unnecessary turnovers.
Yep.
So those are the things that they need to focus on. They need to focus on not being lazy with the ball, take care of the ball, maintain your possessions, and hit shots, and they'll be fine.
That is the bread and butter of Boston Celtics basketball.
What do you have to say?
Did you chat GBT all this?
No. Yes.
That is really good, I guess, word choice for Gio. That's why, Gio is a smart human being. I don't want to discount his smartness, but
Yeah, be nice.
that is a very chat GBT answer.
Is it though?
not necessarily, but like
I mean, I would have said something around that.
No, I think that
Because I would have said the 3 thing.
the 3-point is
Right.
not chat. I think
Yeah.
that the laziness with the ball is something that I don't know.
No, listen, but I do recognize that they are lazy with the ball. But ChatGPT did indeed help me out with that one. I have
That's
to say.
good. We love chat GBT. We use it all the time. Not all the time, but a good amount.
a decent, but like
But the 3-pointer, I agree with you. That's, I think, very apparent in their opening game against the Knicks. When I watched it, it was just everywhere. And yeah, I guess that's probably. I mean, as of right now, I don't see any weakness on their 9-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Everything's working well, but come playoff time, that could be a weakness if everyone's not hitting the 3.
And keep in mind, this is very nitpicky because the Celtics are a very good team. So
right, they really have
I was-
no weakness.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I'm forced to find any little thing.
Yeah, we're
you
like
know what I
nitpicking.
mean?
We're ESPN.
It's really nitpicky.
We're ESPN. We're nitpicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find the Celtics 3-point stats against the Heat.
Yeah.
Celtics 3-point percentage versus Miami ECF 2023. Let's see, this is when they lost. They shot 40% from 3. But now granted, they started the first 3 games like shit and kind of came back. So it kind of canceled itself out, but we've seen numerous times when the Celtics are hitting their threes, they are like 90s Bulls level of dominant. But
Wow.
when they're not hitting their 3, they could easily find themselves going home. And that's exactly why it took them till 2024 to win a championship with this new era Boston Celtics team, because they just keep relying on the 3. It's ridiculous. They got to find some sort of creativity inside. And
I
thankfully,
think Jason Tatum is
he's
starting
finally
to do
starting to do it. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Took him long enough.
I think he's really developed his game. Like, I feel like he's gotten so much more just ball awareness, sensitivity, intuition has grown on the court. So Jason Tatum, I see a lot of growth.
It's only 19, bro.
Only 19.
Only
His
19.
potential is through the roof.
He's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
We love it. But yeah, look, Celtics, are the Celtics. There's really not much else to it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to get into my next team?
Yeah, roll on.
Who do we want to talk about? Let's just get more of the shitters out of the way. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Bucks.
Very much.
Yeah, so the Milwaukee Bucks, without Damian Lillard now, poses some sort of, well, potentially he could come back, but I don't know if he necessarily will. Poses some sort of worry, especially because you have to go up in the first round against one of the Pacers or Pistons, which is no easy task, or the Knicks, actually, for that matter. So my biggest weakness for the Milwaukee Bucks, is their lack of point of attack defending. This we saw was their bread and butter in 2021 when they had Drew Holiday. You trade him for Damian Lillard a couple years later, and Damian Lillard is not a good defender, and
is injured.
And now you really don't have point of attack defense at all, because what are you're relying on Karl Kuzma to carry you with Giannis now? It's just not looking good. So what are y'all's thoughts?
I think that is the number one thing I see with them. Of course, Kuzma doesn't play D. I know their bench has some, like, Ryan Rollins has been stepping up. Who's the other guy that's been doing well on the bench? Don't they have Taurean Prince as well?
They do, yeah.
There's another guy on the bench.
They have
AJ Lawson.
They have Ajax. Andre Jackson Jr.
Andre Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
But not really guys that shot off the board as defenders. So I think that besides, of course, Brook Lopez is a good defender. Giannis, Bobby Portis will be back. So they're gonna have the big men, but the guard play defensively is probably their most lackluster type of rotation they have.
You really do like that word.
I love lackluster.
Yeah.
But yeah, their rotation point guard wise is that definition of lackluster. I don't think anybody there really fits the mold for what they need.
Well, I guess, their interior defense is good.
Oh, it's
Giannis
amazing.
and Lopez, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess the guards can try to press and
They can.
feed them into Giannis and Lopez, and maybe that's a way they can fix that, but
Well,
I don't think that's...
can I pose the bigger problem?
Do it.
Let's say you get the 6th seed, right? You take down the Knicks. You have bad perimeter defense, and you go up against Boston in the second round. Bro, they're gonna shoot like 73s against either of those opponents, by the way.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks can't guard the perimeter either.
Yeah.
But with the Knicks at least have guys that are wings. They have wings. The Bucks really don't have good wing defenders anymore.
Right.
And we've gotten to a point where you're going to rely solely on Kevin Porter Jr., that piece of shit. Like,
Oh yeah, him too. He's there.
He's a decent player, though.
Yeah, he's okay. He's
all right.
He's not that
decent.
good. He's not that good. But he'll try and guard whoever, but it's not really going to work. And I hope he gets his ankles broken. Okay. But
Joe, we don't like him.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as the Bucks goes, I really just don't really see anything happening with them. They're going to give up a lot of points. If they play Indiana in round 1, a lot of these games are going to be high scoring, in the 130s and 140s, and that will kind of be that.
Yeah.
But
All right.
that is the Milwaukee Bucks.
All right.
Indeed.
Let's get into round 3. Antoine.
All right.
What do you got?
I'm going to go to another team like OKC. The weaknesses for them is very thin because they have a great bench. They have the scoring. The only thing that concerns me is their big men and their health. Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein are playing just below 30 minutes a game right now. We know Chet's coming back from his injury from the season. Ihart's been kind of in and out of the lineup sometimes. I know their bench depth and consists of the other J-Dub, Jalen Williams.
He's J. Will.
And then Aaron Wiggins and Kenrick Williams. All the Williamses.
Williams.
Yeah,
but
basically.
with Chet's been kind of on a down year. I know the injury kind of plagued that as well. Ihart, don't know what's going on with him. I've been watching a lot of Thunder basketball to know. But their health for their bigs is probably the most concerning thing I would see, just because the minutes are down and the efficiency for them is not really as high as J-Dub, Dort, SGA, and the bench including.
Right.
All those guys.
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair because, SGA is going to do what he's going to do.
Right.
You're not really going to put much pressure on Dort,
right.
on Caruso, on any of these guys. I think This team has no weaknesses.
No weaknesses.
They have nothing. Like,
Yeah.
The fact that Chet and Hartenstein have played like maybe 10, 12 games together and they're
Right.
63 and 12.
Yeah.
The hell? Like,
Yeah, you really can't find anything with this team.
really can't. Outside of the lack of experience, like who's like Caruso's a champion. Has anyone else made it past the second round on that team? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think.
I
No,
genuinely don't. I genuinely don't
I
think
Heart.
so.
No.
No,
I Heart made
even
it second
he.
round. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
no.
he.
I said no.
Yeah, this team is
They've all been Thunder for lifers.
this team's hunting, man. We'll see. I don't necessarily know what are you going to get in the second round? Because the first round will be a walk in the park for them. Because you're probably going to go up against the Clippers and they have their number. And SGA is going to take that series personally, probably because they traded his ass. But what do you get in the second round? You could play anyone in the second round right now. It could be the Lakers. It could be the Grizzlies. It could be the Nuggets. It could be the Rockets. It could be the Warriors. We don't know.
Yeah.
But can this team, can they elevate? Can they play better than what they're doing right now?
Right.
That's what I want to know.
I think they can.
Yeah. I think so too.
They very well can. This year's playoff predictions are going to be so tough
Yeah.
They will.
When are we doing that?
in 2
In
weeks.
2 weeks.
weeks.
Yeah, he said that 2 weeks.
He did say that.
Yeah.
All
Once
right.
we're going to record the day after this regular season ends.
Yeah.
So should be interesting.
I also want to review our playoff predictions from the preseason.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, we'll
see
do
that
that.
as
That's
well.
gonna be on
part
in
of
that
it?
episode as well.
Nice.
All right.
All right, you want to get in my team next?
Go
ahead.
for it, bro.
I got the Atlanta Hawks next. Yes,
God.
sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go.
So for the Hawks, I have that they are inconsistent with their perimeter shooting.
Yep.
Okay.
One night they can be hitting, one night they can't. So you're not going to win a series if you're inconsistent. You got to be consistent. Another one is Capella's decline.
Oh yeah.
Right? Clint Capella's
course.
decline, aka no rim protection. So other than Capella, and now that he's been playing not as good,
Yeah.
they have no one that can really protect the rim. And so
Yeah.
therefore, teams can just knife in the lane and get layups easy. Whether they're contested or uncontested, they're making layups. They're finishing on the Hawks.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's another issue with the Hawks. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
glaring issues for them.
Well, this is Capella's last season in Atlanta. He's expected to leave in free agency. The good news is he is still skilled offensively around the rim. But I don't know. This team is the definition of mid, the definition of inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's just the Hawks are weird.
They are.
They've
Reese
ne-
Shea has picked it up.
He's picked it up, but defense still, he's thin, so he's not going to be able to guard.
He'll
Well,
gain
not
some
guard,
muscle.
Huh?
He'll gain some muscle in the offseason.
Yeah.
He will.
So maybe in the
yeah.
future. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kung was starting at center. He's okay.
He's undersized as
Jalen
well.
Jackson is out for the season.
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson. I said Jackson. The fuck?
Yeah, without Jalen
Johnson.
Johnson, that team is screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Royally screwed.
They're-
They'll get to the playoffs, but they're gonna get dog walked by Boston or Cleveland.
Yeah. I know.
Easily.
It's a good team though. I like watching them play because they have a lot of nice players.
Yeah,
But-
because I really just win or lose, Tyson Daniels is
Tyson-
going
I
to
kn-
give them problems.
I
bro.
knew you were going to say Dyson Daniels.
I love him.
You
He's
love
so-
him.
He's gonna make my top 20 at some point.
You can't talk about the Hawks and not talk about Dyson.
You can't. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
You can't talk about Dyson Daniels. I mean, you can't not talk about
Yeah.
Dyson Daniels. I actually do think he's the best defender in the NBA.
All right.
I
I
think
think he's top 5.
he's the best.
Okay.
I think it's more impressive what he's doing than what Wemby's doing.
I
I
think
think
we have
Herb
to
Jones
s-
has been dethroned.
We have to see if
Wow.
he continues it into next season.
Yeah.
I think he will.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
very confident.
Okay. I hope he does. I'm rooting for him.
He's really good.
I like him.
We enjoy him.
Bring Aussie back to the NBA.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much really with the Atlanta
No,
Hawks.
not
They're
much
just
to
the
say.
Hawks.
Go for it, Tyler.
All right, let me get into my next team. Let's just keep the theme going to the really good team. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'll get my 3 more problematic teams towards the end. So, look, kind of like OKC, I really was trying to find weaknesses in this roster. There really isn't. I think maybe, the lack of size in the backcourt could be something because obviously Garland and Mitchell are both small, but they have 2 7-foot towers down low.
Yeah.
I think really the only weakness is just the lack of experience.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because I think just looking based on track records of players, Donovan Mitchell's never made it past the second round with Utah.
Yes.
Jared Allen's known to be a dropper. He did better last year, although he got hurt. But Evan Mobley playing like this brings a whole different dynamic to this roster. They have the depth, they have the coaching, they have everything they need, really. It's just a matter of, what happens in that second round series. Right. And yeah, I can't really find faults with this team. It was tough. So what do y'all think? Do y'all have any weaknesses for this team? Because I couldn't really find one.
Oh, it's hard to find one right now, but I assure you, you will see a vast array of weaknesses come playoff time. I assure you.
I really hope Russ opts out and signs in Cleveland next year. I really freaking hope so.
You will see me become that will be the fastest switch up of all time.
Oh, that would be insane. That would be that'll be like Katie going to the Warriors top 10.
I'll be the biggest Cleveland fan if that happens. So, but yeah.
What about you, Antoine?
What do you think?
I love the starting five. In the beginning of the season, I said they're too good to be bad.
He keeps want to like cling on to that like it means anything.
And it does mean something. I saw it from the beginning.
No, I saw it from the beginning.
What? Who here? Yeah. I don't hear anything.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
But their bench is a lot better. DeAndre Hunter was a big addition. So was Javonte Green. I don't really see anything wrong right now.
There's really nothing.
There's right now at current moment in time.
Yeah. Just the lack of experience, I guess, is the only thing. But
that's it.
I
don't either. I'm not worried about that either. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell's there.
Yeah, but he hasn't won playoff series.
Well, I mean, the good thing with Donovan Mitchell, unlike guys like Embiid, Donovan Mitchell goes out swinging. Yeah. Like Donovan Mitchell was dropping 50 in the bubble when they lost to Denver. He was hooping against the Celtics before he got injured.
He gets his.
Yeah, he gets his definitely. And look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Kenny Atkinson can do. I'm excited.
Indeed.
I'm excited for the adjustments.
I'm excited to see what the Cavs are all about in the playoffs. So
we'll see. Bro, get ready.
Yeah.
So, all right, we've passed the halfway point. Let's get into the next round. Antoine, what do you got?
Oh, I don't know who to choose.
Just pick any.
Let's go Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I think it's one word. Centers. That's literally all I said.
That's it. Centers.
Centers.
On to the next. No,
yeah.
I don't hate it. I mean, this team's been playing pretty perfect over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. That's what I was.
Their strength of schedule hasn't been great, so that has to be said for something. But like,
but after the All-Star break, they've been playing outstanding, right? But
like, a lot of their centers defensively are concerning, right?
Right.
Quentin Post is more of an offensive guy. Trace Jackson-Davis has not seen the floor much as of late. Kevon Looney's kind of washed now, unfortunately.
He's old.
Draymond pretty much has to be your center at this point, which is not crazy, but like...
Small team, though.
Yeah.
You need size if you want to win.
That's true. And right now you're looking at a first-round series against Denver, which are just the epitome of size. Right? I mean,
forget it. If Draymond's guarding Jokic.
That front court is 6'10 minimum. The last time, actually, Draymond guarded Nikola Jokic, he gave him 32, 16, and 16.
Yeah, no.
And he even went on his podcast later that game and said, he had me in absolute hell tonight. There was nothing I could do. I had no answers.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I respect that from Draymond.
Yeah, man.
Well, like I said, I said centers because, Quentin Post is, I think, a nice story. TJD is another nice story. Hopefully he becomes, what they want him to be. They've been playing good without centers, like we said. But I think playoff time, that's going to get exposed.
It's different because, it's different when you're playing a regular season game against the Pelicans. Like, a first-round series against Jokic, that whole front court's 6'10 minimum. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell they're going to cope with that.
Yeah.
They're going to adjust in the offseason. They have to.
I would imagine so, but you're competing. A lot of these teams need centers. So they're gonna wind up having to make a trade rather than sign someone.
Yeah, a good center is hard to come by, I feel like, these days.
Not really. It's just impactful centers because a lot of them are
center.
good.
Oh. So you're saying being good and being impactful is different?
Yes.
Okay.
That's kind of what it is.
Got it. All right, ready?
Yeah, what's your next team, Gio?
Next team I got here is the Grizzlies.
Okay.
Can I just, for a moment, can we give a rounding applause for Denny Avdia, because he just dropped a mean triple-double.
What did he do?
32, 15, and 10.
Damn.
Oh, wow. Okay, Denny.
Well done, bud.
Denny's been getting a lot of great numbers. I just saw right now. They played the Hawks. We just spoke about the Hawks.
He could be an MIP candidate next year, potentially.
But Denny in Portland.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
I love
player
what
to have.
I love what Portland's building, man. There'll be plenty in our playoff conversations next season.
Yeah.
So,
He's a winning piece, I think.
He is.
Anyways, back to the Grizzlies. The questions I have about them, the concerns I have about them going to the playoffs is, of course, the interim head coach.
Yes.
We have no idea how that's going to pan out.
Big
right?
question mark.
That's probably the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
And then other than that, I'd say an inconsistent job maybe, or defensive rebounding issues with the Grizzlies. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think they're a decent squad, but I don't see them going far. But
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah,
Now that Taylor Jenkins is out the door,
yeah,
that pretty much killed all hope they had. Because now you got to learn a whole new system in a week or 2 weeks to try and prep for this.
they don't have to learn a whole new system, do they?
I mean, if he's changing up the offense, then you're kind of
He's just going to add more pick and rolls into the offense.
Yeah,
so
but
pretty much the same.
but what if they struggle? That's the thing. They haven't been playing the greatest as of late, and it's tough. You're most likely going up against the Lakers in the first round,
Yeah,
and I don't know if they're gonna have no answers for Luka Doncic and LeBron.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of looking like an early exit because they already
know.
had flaws enough regarding like the lack of experience and the lack of they have decent vets on the roster, but not as much as they should have.
No.
So they're not really guided the best. And I'm not confident in the way they're going to play now without him there.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson's really going to have to play out of his mind.
Yeah.
I want to see how they do in the last 9 games, just like as a sample size. But it depends who they play. And then the first round, obviously, is going to be against one of the top teams. So it could be wraps really early for that coach.
So let me ask you really quick, not too long. Who steps up besides Ja and Triple J?
Desmond Bane.
Has to be Bane.
Has to be Bane.
No excuses.
Got it.
Yeah.
Has to be Bane.
Bane has been dropping like almost triple doubles every night.
Okay.
Almost.
Bane either steps up or he's getting traded. I think that's where they're at.
Is it the
Yeah.
same thing with Ja?
No.
No.
They're
So
gonna
Ja's
keep Ja.
safe.
Ja's
No,
safe.
I
No
think
matter what.
I think this all comes down to Bane because he
Got
just
it.
signed an extension not too long ago. If he doesn't step up, if he has a stinker, I think it's over for him in Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of have to see going forward with them.
Yeah.
Ready to get into the next team?
Go.
Good.
All right, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. This is a team they are the most bipolar team in the association.
Yeah.
They're either playing incredible one night or they're playing like absolute idiots the next night. Jokic is rested now, and you can see the difference. He's playing out of his mind. I saw the Euro step 3/4
Yes.
court shot he had.
Yep.
My goodness gracious, it was insane.
Another one.
Beast.
But the one glaring flaw, I'm not going to talk about the bench because we know the bench is bad. The one glaring flaw in this team is the 3-point volume. This team barely shoots threes. When they do shoot threes, they can't make the threes. And whoever they play, they can't guard the threes. So whoever they're playing is just going to make all the threes and take as many of them as they want. And that's going to result in a lot more runs. And like Steve Kerr said a couple weeks ago, you have to shoot a lot of threes to keep up with these teams. And with Denver strictly playing inside, they're just going to clog the paint for Jokic. He's going to pass it out, and they're just not going to make the shot. Or they're just not going to take the shot.
Right.
Or Jokic is going to put up a shot, get fouled, and they're not going to call it.
Right.
Anything like that. I have a lot of concerns with them in the playoffs. I'm not confident whatsoever.
I think that's really valid because I know their starting 5 is great. MPJ could shoot, but it's been kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
Jamal's been picking it up. Christian Braun is more the defensive guy.
Yeah. He's been shooting a lot more.
he
threes.
could shoot.
Yeah.
He's improved a lot.
Yeah.
Russ at the 3, not very comfortable
It's
with
not,
that.
that's not him.
Yeah.
Strother,
He's hurt.
yeah, same thing. I was gonna say.
Peyton Watson's back. He's been
he
playing
is,
good.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, did not really a lot
Aaron
of.
Gordon. How about health of Aaron Gordon? That's another thing.
That's another
Yeah.
big one.
He needs to be healthy for this
I
team
guess
to go.
Yeah.
they're missing. I guess the Bruce Brown shooter.
They're
He's not really a
miss-
shooter.
They're missing
Yeah,
the
he wasn't-
KCP 3
KCP.
shooter. Yeah. Bruce Brown obviously is a loss because he brought that 3-and-D off the bench, which you can potentially get him back next season now that he'll be a free agent. You can easily just give him the full taxpayer MLE. He'll gladly sign that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Gio. It's not looking good for your boy Russ in Denver, bro.
One and done.
I think come playoff time we'll be ready to go.
Oh.
All right. Well, you're going
Ready to go.
at the Warriors in the first round as of right now.
Yeah. That's
And
easy money.
And if you win that,
Got to show up.
if you win that, you got either Houston or Minnesota in round 2. And Minnesota's had Denver's number. They have. Minnesota has not lost to Denver since Game 5.
Oh shoot.
Yeah,
Scary.
they're playing tonight.
I think we beat the Warriors because, like you said, the Warriors lack size. The Nuggets have all of that.
Understandable.
Then once you get to the Minnesota Rockets, I think that might be a challenge. We'll see.
And then most likely OKC's waiting for you in the conference finals, should they get there, which they probably won't.
Look,
but
if anyone's gonna pull it off, though, it's gonna be Jokic.
that's true.
So I still have faith. I'm a little delusional, as Anthony should be about the Knicks.
Exactly.
Have faith in your team, bro.
I do.
Okay.
Until I don't.
Exactly. So, like the Knicks do it for himself. Like they answer all his questions by saying like, they're not ready.
We're going to hop into my penultimate team. We're going to go to, excuse me, I'm talking.
Go for it.
Okay. No looking at the phone.
I'm literally on my notes.
All right. I'm still on my team first. Okay. I'm going to go to the Clippers. So they've been having a pretty okay year. I think much better than we anticipated. Harden's looked like he's a little rejuvenated. Norman Powell was on a heater all year long until he got injured, but now he's back. Zubac looks okay. Their bench looks pretty good. I think the number one thing with them that I've been seeing, I know Harden has been kind of the playmaker. The assist numbers are up to 10 plus like it was in Houston. I still don't think he's a floor general. I still see him as a 2 more than a 1. I think he's more of a shooting guard. And I know they've been playing Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn is a point guard. He doesn't really play shooting guard. Chris Dunn is also pretty more defensive, not really a scorer. So I think same thing with the Magic. They have no floor general. I think they need a point guard. Get Harden off the ball. Focus him more on a little bit of the scoring. You disagree, Gio?
Very much
I
so.
don't care what you have to say.
That's okay. You can finish what you guys.
But I understand that Harden can be the floor general. I just don't precisely think he should be. I think he's more of the scorer. He could rack up a lot of assists at the 2, but I think they need a point guard that's like a Trae Young or a LaMelo Ball.
No. I completely disagree with that.
Not at all.
Tyler, you go first.
No, you can go first, bro.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I think you're stuck in like OKC days, James
Well,
Harden.
I did have a hard time choosing a Clipper weakness. This is kind of the one I
think you can
got
choose a
last
lot.
second.
Right?
What do you see then?
Well, I'm not going to get into that. That was your job. I'm just going to
So
break
I
down.
failed. No, good. What do you think?
I think James Harden is a floor general. It's just that maybe he's just older. I think that's a weakness that they have. They're all old. Most of the team is old. They're one of the oldest teams in the league. So,
okay.
Injuries, potential injuries is another weakness.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I don't think that's their issue. I think their issue is just age.
Okay.
What do you think, Tyler?
I think it's just the health of Kawhi Leonard at this point.
I was gonna say that.
Like, I don't really like this team is decent. I don't really know the health just in general, even besides Kawhi. Like Norman Powell got hurt a few weeks ago. We don't know if Harden can stay durable for a whole season. Like
He's been playing great.
He's been playing
okay,
great,
yeah.
But it's hard, man. Like Zubac has been consistently good throughout the entire season. Outside of that, everyone's just kind of been in and out the lineup. It's just the Clippers are just not good enough.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest problem here. Because they're a good team. They'd probably get to the second round of the conference finals in the East. But like in the West, it's a lot more stacked. A lot more teams match up better against you.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I really I wish I had an answer for you on the Clippers, but they confuse the hell out of me.
They
all
really
the
are
time.
a weird team.
They are.
Yeah.
They're right in the middle.
Mysterious.
But they're really good.
They're good.
We
Not
can't
really
discount
good.
that.
They're a good team. They're
Okay.
they're a playing team. They're probably going to lose to Minnesota in the play-in.
Oh yeah.
But they'll probably get swept by OKC in the first round. But that's kind of the gist with that. So Gio,
All right, G.
get into your next team.
my next team is the Indiana Pacers.
Ah,
So the Pacers, my biggest concern with them, their biggest weakness, I would say, is really their matchup. It's really matchup concerns for me
okay.
with teams that have good bigs.
Yeah.
You know, because we understand that the Pacers they lost a couple bigs, right? What was it?
Isaiah
Jackson.
James Wiseman.
Right.
Yeah.
How's Miles Turner's health? He's healthy.
Good, yeah.
He's been all right.
So hopefully that stays that way.
Yeah.
But in terms of depth, they don't really have guys. So matching up with the teams that have good bigs, it's going to be a big issue in the playoffs. Celtics, right? So I mean, anyone that matches up against the Celtics is going to have issues. But specifically, the Celtics have really good bigs in Porzingis, Horford, and other guys. That's going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Or even the Knicks, I'll say. With Cat, it's going to be. I don't think Turner can match up well against Cat either.
I think they both actually match up well against each other.
You think so?
Yeah, they're both.
Who wins that matchup?
It depends, right? Because Cat's more creative offensively. Miles Turner's way better defensively.
I wouldn't say way better.
Yeah, I know.
He's a better rim protector.
Remember,
he is.
Cat's only good on defense when there's a center behind him. He's on his own. He's playing the 5, which means all the pressure is going to be put on him, and he can't anchor a defense as well as Miles Turner does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Turner gave us problems last year in the series against the Knicks, so we had no Cat.
exactly.
But
The singular adjustment Rick Carlisle made took Hartenstein completely out of the series.
yeah,
And that's the thing, too. Isaiah
Cat is no Hartenstein.
Right, but Isaiah Jackson didn't really play much in the playoffs last year. James Wiseman was going to play a little bit, but he also was someone that they didn't have last year. So this is kind of like last season, just with, with some, your depth that you had has more experience.
Yeah.
We're starting to see some breakout games from Obi Toppin. He could easily play a small ball 4 because he's mainly a 3,
True.
but he can play the 4. And even in some certain circumstances, he could play the 5 if you really need to.
Yeah.
Like if Cat's on the bench, you could easily just play.
That's true.
You could play Obi Toppin at the 5 on whoever's playing, small ball 5.
Yeah. Well, another weakness I would add to that I didn't write down
Yeah,
is Tyrese Halliburton is inconsistent this year.
not over the past month.
So what's he been doing?
Tyrese Halliburton, he just had 3 turnovers in a game yesterday. It was the first time in a very long time he's had more than 1 turnover. So just kind of like scanning back at his game log through this season, I mean, he's been playing really well as far as 18 and 11, 18 and 3, 29 and 6, 16 and 18, 24 and 11, 16 and 12. Halliburton's been hooping.
Okay.
And this is exactly what Indiana needs now because, Siakam needed some help. He was kind of doing everything in the first half of the season. And since All-Star break, Tyrese Halliburton has been phenomenal.
So what would you say is the weakness of the Pacers? What would you say? Do they have any or
Rick Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle? I think he's a good coach.
He's a great coach. But remember, the reason why they lost to the Celtics is his stubbornness to make rotations, like not riding the hot hand. Because in game 1 of the Celtics series, TJ McConnell should have closed instead of Halliburton. He didn't. They lost the game. Then Halliburton
Hard to
goes.
say though.
But
Halliburton.
Halliburton was playing very bad in game 1. TJ McConnell was carving up that Celtics defense all game.
Yeah.
In the second game, Halliburton goes down. Again, the Pacers had a lead. You didn't ride the hot hand. You still stuck to your guns and it didn't work. And the same thing happened in game 3, and the same thing happened in game 4. So if Rick Carlisle can kind of just, not do that, then, that
So
would
you're saying
be
just
ideal.
ride the hot hands.
It's literally all he needs to do.
Yeah.
And as far as since All-Star break, Tyrese Halliburton, why is it showing the freaking totals? I want points per game. I don't need the total points. Hold on. Let me pull this up. It's not showing the points per game. Why is that? Oh, here it is. So since All-Star game, he's averaging 21 points, 11 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and half a block, and only 1.3 turnovers. That's for a point guard.
It's good.
His assist to
Very
turnover
efficient.
ratio is like in the double digits,
Wow.
which is insane.
That is good.
So shout out Hallie, man,
It's Chris Paul level.
very much.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been comparing him to he's like the modern day Steve Nash.
Yeah. Just taller version.
Exactly, because he's like 6'5", 6'6". Having a point guard that can dunk is such a luxury.
Oh yeah.
So But yeah, I'm still very high on Indiana. It's not going to change. So no more Hallie slander for the time being.
Nope.
We'll see
I
in the
slander.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They're playing either the Bucks or the Pistons in the first round.
Yeah, that'll be
So,
entertaining.
Be a great series.
I can't wait for the playoffs, man.
I'm excited, bro. It's gonna be great.
I know. All right, Tyler, go for it.
That's what we care
Let me
about.
get into my next team. Fine, we'll talk about the Lakers. Fine.
I love how they ended up being on your list.
Yeah, I've avoided them for about a month, but fine, I'll do it. Look, my thing with the Lakers, it's very simple. They have some of the worst big men in the NBA. They are like Jackson Hayes is bad. Jared Vanderbilt is bad. Trey Jemison is awful. How is that going to fare in the playoffs? That's my biggest concern, right? Because like Luka and LeBron are going to do their thing. Austin Reeves, when he's on, is going to do his thing. The bigs got to help him out a little bit. Like,
Well, who's their best bet? Is it Hayes? I think it's Hayes.
Probably.
he's their only center. It kind of has
think-
to be.
I think he's been starting to get a little bit better. He's been showing some
okay.
improvements the more he plays with the Lakers and LeBron.
I think the key is Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the one.
yeah. He's very
But-
versatile on defense.
Yeah, but like I don't know, man. Like we haven't seen the Lakers really take on one of those top teams yet. I think they play the Thunder this week.
Yeah,
So we'll kind of get a gauge
we'll see.
because JJ Redick kind of emptied the arsenal to play Denver that one time when they kind of quadruple teamed Jokic. We'll see how Malone adjusts to
Well, they
it.
played the Rockets, right?
They did, yeah.
So would you consider them a top team?
Yeah, I would.
They beat the Rockets.
They played well.
Yeah.
And the Rockets just didn't have a good game plan going in.
Right.
And that's on them. But with the Lakers, if you're relying in like let's say a second round series against OKC, right? Do you trust a Jackson Hayes out there? Do you trust
Hell
a
no.
Jared Vanderbilt on offense?
Hell no.
Even on defense, like he's not going to stop SGA.
Yeah, no.
There's
Yeah,
no
I
way.
mean, he's a good defender, but he's
a good
not
defender,
a guard
but-
defender.
Yeah, and he's
a
also
wing
missed
defender.
so much time. He's
Yeah.
injury prone.
Yeah.
So I have major concerns with this Lakers roster. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I think defensively,
Yeah.
that's their biggest issue because Reeves can't really. I mean, Reeves is decent. He's okay on defense.
He's all right.
Doncic can't play defense.
Nope.
LeBron's not interested in playing defense at this point in his
Especially
career.
after the groin injury.
Yeah, and then Hayes. I mean, Hayes is like a okay rim protector, but he doesn't play with his head. He doesn't know what he's doing sometimes.
He's a shot blocker.
Yeah.
And a lob merchant.
exactly
What he is.
That's what he is. And then you got who else over there? I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith is the only guy that can pretty much play defense on that starting lineup.
Yeah, they released Alex Len. That's who they brought into the deadline for
Yeah.
center. They moved off him really quick.
Yeah, he was not good.
Yeah, no.
So
I know.
defense, they need to play defense.
They do.
That's their
We're going to see a lot of crashing out from JJ Redick
yeah,
because he is short-tempered with this whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
One tiny minute mistake, he's going to lose it.
You know, this is actually completely opposite to their 2020 team because their 2020 team was a really good defensive team.
Oh, bro.
That was the best
amazing.
defense in the league. But this year, it's kind of flipped.
Yeah.
They're a really good offensive team, not a good defensive team.
'Cause, yeah, I
we'll
mean,
see how that works.
You had a healthier Braun, you had AD, you had
Yeah.
Alex Caruso, you had KCP,
Yep.
you had Dwight Howard.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Insane.
That team was.
Did you say AD?
He
Yeah,
was
you
could
the
say that two
second
times.
name I
Yeah,
said,
that
You
was-
could say that 2 times.
Yeah,
okay,
bro.
because he was crazy on
That's the thing
defense.
because AD was able to play the 4,
Yeah.
not the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's imperative for
Exactly.
Cat to play the 4 for him to succeed defensively. That's why it worked last year in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lakers, man, I don't know. I want their downfall so bad for a multitude of reasons.
I have high hopes for the Lakers. I'm not necessarily rooting for them, but
Yeah.
I think they're going to do good.
They'll do good, yeah. They'll get past. I think they'll get out of the first round at the
Yeah.
very least. But
Yeah.
second round, man, against OKC, it's not looking good, bro.
It's Luka. Luka is the OKC takedowner or whatever.
Yeah, but remember, Luca last year was on a team. What is he doing over there? Luca on a
Playing
team.
with plastic for, huh?
Luca on a team last year had defenders around him. That was the difference.
Right.
They swarmed Shea. They swarmed J-Dub. J-Dub got absolutely clamped that series.
Mm-hmm.
Did not play good at all. Because what? You had PJ Washington. You had Daniel Gafford. You had Derek Lively. You had all those guys around.
Mm-hmm. True.
Around Luca. Now you have Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's it.
Good luck. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get into the final
I'm on my
round.
last team.
Antoine, who do you got?
So we have Detroit. So we have been talking about them for a good amount. I think the biggest concern with them, Cade is the star of the team. We all know that. Asar is the rising star, hopefully pretty soon.
Kid?
What?
Kid? Oh, Cade.
I said Cade.
Cade,
Cade's a
yeah.
star.
I heard Kid.
Asar is the rising star. Duran's their center for now. Ron Holland, of course, looks great off the bench. Isaiah Stewart. Malik Beasley's been a revelation for them. Jaden Ivey, unfortunately. The injury, we all know that. Tobias Harris, non-existent to me.
He's been good, but
Non-existent.
all right. You keep telling yourself that. buddy.
Non-existent. Of course, I think the biggest glaring need, which should be addressed probably in the offseason, is they have no second star player. That's, I think, the biggest thing I see because they have the nice role guys that help, of course, that I mentioned, but no star second player. I think that's what they need. And I think that's going to take them farther next year, but for this year, I think it's one and done, first or second round. And that's what I see.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no second star player.
Since All-Star break, by the way, Tobias Harris is averaging 15, 6, and 7.
Dude,
So
that's like all-star
Nope.
numbers.
All-star, 15 points.
15,
It's under
6,
15
and 7.
points is an all-star.
15. Oh, sorry. That was the defensive rebounds. 15, 7, and 3. Sorry, my fault.
Yeah.
15, 7, and 3, but he's shooting 57% from 2.
That is pretty.
That's your finals
That is
MVP right
pretty
there.
good.
Oh yeah.
That is
Imagine.
pretty good.
Look, I know what Detroit needs to do. Jaden Ivey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I hope you recover well. This team needs to get Devin Booker.
Yeah.
They have to.
That would be nice.
That is an absolute must. That is what they need.
I think it's going to happen.
Oh, it better happen because they should have got Zach LaVine,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't. I'm glad they didn't actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, bro, this team doesn't need to draft anymore. You're good.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
chilling. No more 14 win seasons.
Right.
They have 42 wins right now. Can you believe they had 14 wins last season?
It's crazy.
The only team in NBA history to triple their win total from the previous year. That's redonkulous.
JB.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Grown on me, JB.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And he got ejected in the
Yeah.
scruff yesterday because he stands up for his guys. He's
Right.
got that dog in
He
him.
does have that dog.
He does.
I noticed that.
So next season, let's say you chuck out a lineup of, I don't know, Cade, Devin Booker, Asar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. That's a good lineup.
That's a playoff
That is a
playoff
very
lineup.
good lineup.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
Yeah.
I don't like Jaden Ivey can develop into a great player.
Right.
Of course.
I don't think he fits their timeline anymore.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
As far as this season, that is a question mark though. Dennis Schroeder's going to really need to step up and
All right.
play his best basketball.
Man, the Pistons, man. We'll see what happens.
Probably never expected us to be talking about them at
Right.
this point.
No,
bro.
no. Seriously.
This is insane.
They finished the season very well.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, let's move on though.
2 teams left.
Yeah.
What do you
Go ahead,
got?
G.
So I got the Kings. All right. I really don't
Why'd
want
you
to
wait
talk
to
about
save them for now?
because it's like I don't want
fair.
to talk about them. They're a drag. But anyways, their weaknesses is that they have a new coach.
Yep.
They have bad defense, and they have Keegan Murray, who has not been playing well. So those are their 3 weaknesses that I've listed here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, man. Keegan Murray. Hashtag not good.
Not
Yeah,
good
I
anymore.
was on that train to trade him in the trade deadline season. Now it's looking a lot better.
To be fair, I mean, he doesn't have a point guard anymore, but like, I don't know. I just think, no, I don't, like, use Keon Ellis. Like,
Yeah.
He's been starting.
yeah, but like, there was like an 8-game stretch where he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
That's why I guess they finally figured it out.
Finally, get him the ball. Get him in the game.
Basically.
Yeah, they're like they're the West version, I think, of the Hawks. A little bit.
No.
Or like
They are a starless Phoenix Suns.
yeah. That is true. A lot of
basically what they are.
guys
That's so bad.
a lot of guys on the downfall.
Yeah.
Like DeMar, Levine.
Yeah. Well, Levine's on
Not
the downfall.
Sabonis. Not Sabonis.
Sabonis is probably out of there in the
He'll
summer.
be out of there.
They got some good players on the team. It's just like,
Doesn't
But
work.
teams who need a center, Sabonis.
yeah.
Lakers.
They won't do
A
that.
lot of other guys.
That would be cool.
The Kings will trade him out of the conference.
Yeah.
I hope we don't trade for him, but we probably will.
Send him back to Indiana.
He's not gonna. Miles Turner's better than him, so it's like
Is he though?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
controversial.
as far as I think as far as impactful, Miles Turner's better.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, no. If you want to keep Giannis in Milwaukee, Sabonis.
I mean, Brook Lopez is fine. You don't really need to get rid of him.
What about Sabonis to the Knicks?
What picks?
I would love.
It's not going to happen though.
With what picks?
But you know they need something.
Yeah, but no. If I'm Indiana, I would rather have Miles Turner than Sabonis.
Yeah, that's why they traded him away.
Exactly, because they trusted him, and he actually proves me wrong because I didn't think he was like that, but he is. We saw it last year.
I don't know. I would love the Kings and the Suns to blow it up.
Yeah,
That's the goal for me. Both of them.
yeah. The
Move
Kings
those guys to
are,
other places.
Kings are just not good, bro.
Yeah, it's not fun to talk about right now, so we can move on.
Yeah, we
Tyler.
can just move on to the final team.
Wow, Gio.
No, I'm sorry. To anyone that's a Kings fan, I'm really sorry, but they're just
No
It's-
more.
it's a drag to
no
talk
more.
about you guys right now.
No more lighting the beam for
Bro,
now.
this team had a backcourt duo of Halliburton and Fox, and now
Yeah.
they're gone. It's
ruined
Yeah.
it.
damn
Sorry, guys.
sucks, bro.
Tyler's last team is Minnesota, I think.
Ooh.
It is.
Yeah.
we saved.
Pretty good at process of elimination.
Yeah, bro. So
It's not like I looked at the standings to see who we
Yeah,
didn't
it-
talk about, but okay.
it's classic iPad kid. Nobody can do
Yeah.
about it. So let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I kind of struggled here because this team had a lot of problems at the start of the season. This team fixed a lot of their problems now.
They did.
They're playing really well. They just went on a humongous win streak with Julius Randle as a starter. Now, obviously, the biggest issue is what do you get from Randle in the playoffs? Because we know he's a serial playoff dropper, but that sounded boring. I didn't really want to talk about that. So I kind of dug a little bit deeper. I watched some highlights and stuff like that. This team is slow as shit.
Yeah.
They are a snail on
Yeah.
both ends of the floor.
What do you mean, like actually
they're-
slow
they're-
Like
or
this
pace?
team is allergic to outlet passes. Like like they waste so many opportunities.
I see.
Just straight from a miss. Like they take way too long to do anything, and it just slows down their offense and it leaves you flat-footed on the defensive end. And that's
Yeah.
what doesn't work because here's what'll happen, right? Let's say you're playing the Knicks, right? Mikal Bridges misses a three, grabs the rebound. You have Ant completely open on he's just, as T-Mac would say, he's butt naked in the corner. And no one throws the ball. They give it to Conley, he just moseys up the court, and then someone cuts, they don't see it, stuff like that. What happens? They either miss or they turn the ball over, no one gets back in time. And when you're going up against a fast-paced team, they're going to eat you alive. And that's exactly what Denver had to do in the second round in
Right.
those 3 games. And I think that's the biggest problem. They,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
they wait too long,
Yeah.
and then the shot clock's down to 3, and they panic.
Yeah,
So
that's 100% true. Because I think easy buckets are of huge value in the playoffs. If you can get easy buckets in the playoffs, that raises your chances of winning by so much.
oh yeah,
Right? So
Yeah.
easy buckets is fast break, outlet passes, stuff like that. If they can do more of that, they'll have a higher chance to win.
Yeah, I don't know where I saw, but they are the slowest team in the NBA. I think I don't know if it was ESPN or if it was another NBA YouTuber, but they're the slowest team. So yeah, they have one of the fastest players in the league. So use it.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's like
True.
you have so much potential with this roster because Mike Conley's obviously a seasoned vet. He's got 17, 18 years in the league. We know what he's capable of. Anthony Edwards has a stupidly high ceiling, one of the best players under 25 years old. Jaden McDaniels, 3-and-D beast, right?
It also been scoring
Yeah, exactly.
a lot better.
I'm blanking. Oh, Julius Randle obviously has, again, barring he's a bruiser, barring the previous playoff potential. He's good in the post, and Rudy Gobert in the right system is a positive, impactful player on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
does anchor one of the best defenses in the NBA, poses a great lob threat in the dunker spot, and they have a good bench.
Yeah.
They just need to pick up the pace a little bit. Someone needs to just kind of give them a little bit of a push,
Yeah.
and we'll
Get Rob Dillingham.
Yeah,
minutes.
Rob, a second fastest guy on that team.
I mean, I
Get him in the
I
point
wouldn't
guard
necessarily trust him in a playoff
Yeah,
series
I
right now.
understand.
but
Understood.
Yeah,
next year, Gio.
Next year.
yeah.
Next year.
This time.
So
Yeah, I think that's
I think that wraps it up.
very valid. I think we did a good job with these.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Put it here.
that wraps up our whatchamacallit, our exposing every NBA playoff team's weakness. Be sure to let us know in the comments what you guys think, what you would choose for any of your favorite teams or any teams that you're concerned about or anything like that. And do you guys have any final thoughts?
No.
All right.
We're all good.
And with that brings to the end of episode number 51 of the Floor Spacer podcast. Gio, you know what time it is. Those that are still with the flow, what do they comment?
Let's comment down deep end.
Deep end.
Yeah.
2 words.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying depend.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first.
Deep end. Deep end.
Because we're in the deep end of the season.
Yes,
Exactly.
we are.
Exactly.
So
All
fine
right.
with that.
That's
So
fine.
comment down, deep end. So obviously, season's only a couple weeks away. We just started April.
Yeah.
And we'll have something planned for next week. I'm not sure exactly what it will be, but we'll have that figured out.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks, when the season ends, we'll have our reaction to our preseason predictions and
Nice.
our full playoff predictions and playing and everything like that. And then
Yeah.
it's back to business as usual. Next week will be our 52nd week of pods, which will be a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
5,000 subs
yes, sir.
in
Later.
a year. Not too
Later.
bad if I do say so myself.
Not bad at all. We wound up
yeah.
getting there by the end of March, which was what we wanted to do. We
did.
made it with 1 day to spare.
We did.
So we'll set a new goal. 6K by when? What's realistic for us?
May.
No, it's a little bit.
June. July.
July, I think, is more realistic.
July, yeah.
So how about this? Get us to 6,000 subs before Summer League. I think it's
Yeah.
July 10th, something of that nature.
Yeah.
Because that's the
Yeah.
only other NBA event that I can think of that's like in that general
Or free
area.
agency beginning.
That's true, yeah. Or the draft. It's like
Yeah,
a week
right.
before.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any other final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns before we head on out of here for the week?
No, let's go to sleep.
Let's go to sleep. That's going to be his new mantra in the outro.
It is
But-
10:40.
It is 10:40 on our time.
So, and I got to edit this whole thing when I get home. So,
Yes.
we hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. We love you all endlessly. Fuck Nico Harrison. And we'll see you all next week in episode 52. Peace out.